future is here. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.
What's up, guys? Welcome. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
All right.
Something going on tonight?
Might be that night of the week.
Well, you could see my grin.
What's up, guys?
Is anyone at the Dallas show?
Yeah, we got some comments from people at the Dallas show. If you're there and checking in with us, say what's going on. We are living vicariously through you guys.
Yep.
You brave souls out there. While everybody pours in, let me just give a little hat tip to Slab Savers. Great gesture, sending all of us a custom card ladder holder, Slab Saver. And it's cool. It's completely customized. They make
Nice.
Custom ones, right? So pretty dang cool. And I think this is obviously that's temperature and humidity, maybe. So pretty awesome. Want to send a shout out to Jerry. Thanks for sending that. And of course, protecting your cards, especially slabs, as I evolve in this hobby, I find it more and more important that my slabs themselves are well preserved, not just the card inside. So big shout out, as always, to Slab Guard, which makes that a lot easier. So how are you doing tonight, Josh?
Doing fantastic. I have a small mail day.
Let's go.
Small mail day. I've had this before, and then I sold it, and I had to get it back, and it's my favorite serial number. I love this crack. I saw you get the cracked ice last week. I had to get one.
Yeah, that's definitely a running theme here.
Had to get my Cardinals receiver, one of the best in the game. I'm not, undervalued crap. I really hate that. But like the football stuff is still cheap and fun to collect for me. I've got a lot of the LeBron stuff I like, obviously, and I don't know. It's just not as much fun paying $50,000 for a card anymore. I don't know if that's just me, but it's just not that fun.
No, it's not. It's the stakes get a little too high sometimes.
Yeah, you get one card a year. It's like I'd rather. I got to find some other lane.
Totally. And when you pile up incrementally, nice. When you pile cards up incrementally instead of just one big card, you can enjoy those cards for a while, and then when a big card comes up, you can sell them off and go get the big one. And you actually probably do better that way, honestly.
That's pretty much my main strategy, honestly. That you just described my strategy to a T. I pick up cards that I enjoy that aren't super expensive, and I just kind of accumulate them, and then I'm like, okay, well, I've had these, they were fun, now it's time to get the big one, and I sell off a good chunk of what I had been buying. I keep a few for the memories, and then get the big one.
Dude, that was like I accidentally backed into that strategy, just collecting Michael Jordan inserts at first. All of a sudden I've got $5,000 worth of them, then $15,000 worth of them, then $30,000 worth of them. You look up after a year or two and you're like, oh crap, I've got $30,000 worth of Jordan cards here. I could go get a Grail now. Maybe I'll go do that. And so it just it's just a win-win because you get to enjoy so many cards along the way.
Oh yeah, I didn't do it on purpose. It just happens that way.
Totally. Like Brett says, you got to grab some tapas. It can't always be the red eye. What's up, Rodman? What's up, everybody in the chat? All right, guys, welcome to the crossover. Today is January 29th, 2021. There are a lot of topics to talk about today. An incredible amount of stuff happened. in the hobby this week. And thank you to all the great questions that got sent in on these topics. So here's the first one. Let's tee this one up first. I've never seen the hobby rally in such unison as it did around this. Well, that's not true. I've seen the hobby rally to condemn bad actors swiftly.
Yep.
But I've never seen the hobby rally with so much optimism to support itself as we did here. So this question comes from Ryan Bitter. He says, Vegas Dave's comment and why he said it. So let me Vegas Dave posted a thing to his Instagram account basically that said the sports card market is going to crash within 24 to 36 months. Similar to the subprime housing crisis. There it is, right? Is that about right? Yeah, the sports card market will collapse just like the subprime mortgage industry did. And then he gives it like a 24 to 36 month window. And of course,
it'll crash sometime in the future.
and true to form, the post was accompanied with a promotional scheme and a giveaway. It's never enough to just offer commentary. It always needs to be in service of some greater self-enrichment, it would seem, or self-promotion. But nonetheless, so let me pass that one to you. What do you have? Do you have any thoughts on Vegas Dave's comment and why he said it?
I mean, I don't think there's much depth to this, to be honest. Like, I think it's just him looking for attention. You and I talked about maybe there's something going on behind the scenes where he got pissed off and sort of just like reacted and made this post kind of on a whim because he was breaking 86 Fleer like 2 weeks ago. He clearly is like not, completely out of the hobby. He still thinks there's some, value to it or whatever. But I don't know, man. Just seems like he was pissed. He made his post. He made his point or whatever. But what I took away from it was that like it was a good reminder that this stuff can't go up forever. There isn't like an infinite upward trajectory of this stuff, and it's a good reminder for all of us that like we should plan accordingly for some potential downfall of cards. Not they're not gonna like crater and go to zero, but some sort of correction would be not out of the realm of possibilities just based on how much stuff has run up. I mean, even if we got back to like April or May prices, it wouldn't be that crazy because stuff has just gone up so much that like you kind of have to expect some sort of dip eventually. It's it may not be today or tomorrow or a month, or his prediction was 2 to 3 years, which is a little bit odd, I guess. But prepare accordingly.
Yeah. Good points. It is weird. Let me just like draw out something that you said. It's very odd that he would have been promoting so vociferously and vigorously the break that he participated in, and in fact going all out to market the value of the BBCE sealed 86 Fleer box as being a $250,000 box. Struck me as odd that he was doing that, I don't know, less than a month ago, only to then turn around and within a few weeks span, completely badmouth the outlook of sports cards. When somebody likens it to the subprime mortgage crisis, there are levels to that analogy. And so what does that make him in this equation? If sports cards are likened to the subprime mortgage crisis, well, what does that make him, being a guy who was at the very forefront of promoting, for example, his Derek Carr collection, for example, promoting his acquisition of Trout, the Superfractor, that he made several $1 million off of by buying and then selling. What about him playing a role and stepping up as sort of a spokesperson, I think, is the role that he was seeking to assume for the hobby by, coming out and getting involved with these breaks of the 86 Fleer and really hyping up the cards and showing a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. Well, if this is the subprime mortgage crisis, then what does that make you, Vegas Dave? Who are you in this equation if this is a subprime mortgage crisis? So I found that comment, the particular usage of that analogy, to be curious, because who is he then in the scheme? you know, because when you talk about a subprime mortgage crisis, you're talking about people who completely were undeserving in some instances of receiving funds and loans for home ownership, but were still rushed through. And then those bad loans were repackaged and repackaged and resold and resold and on and on. So who is Vegas Dave in this equation? That's my question to him. If this is the subprime mortgage crisis, looking at his track record and his history. Okay, that was a little bit on my mind there. And then the other point, though, that I want to draw out from what you said is that it's very true that we need to have a caution to go alongside our optimism with respect to what this market might hold, and to never remember why sports cards have value in the first place. We all know the refrain, we don't like sports cards because they're good investments. They're good investments because we like sports cards. If that ever stops being true, or it begins to stop being true, then suddenly we're not dealing with collectibles anymore. Now we're dealing with something else. So we should always keep in mind a cautious mindset, I believe, and we should always be prepared for contingencies, but we should assign realistic probabilities to them. We should back it with analysis. So let me make one more point, and then I want to get you to maybe react a little bit to it. You and I were chatting, and we were sort of speculating, and this is going to bleed into the next series of questions as well. We were sort of talking about what makes sports cards so appealing to people, especially people in their 30s, which would be young Gen X, older millennials. What makes them so appealing to us? Why don't we just go do stocks? Why don't we just research fundamentals of companies, look at earning reports and stuff like that? Well, I can tell you why I don't, because I don't give a damn. It's extremely uninteresting. I don't find it to be intellectually stimulating. I find it to be very detached. And it has never enthralled me or intrigued me at all. And I'm a person who loves the study of markets and finds economic behavior to be fascinating. Sports cards, however, has a real meaningful, tangible connection. So we say, okay, so we understand then why we collect sports cards, why we feel comfortable and even feel compelled to buy them. Well, how did stocks elevate and get to the point that they're currently at as the primary store of value in society from the perspective of investment, along with bonds and other things like that? And the question, it really answers itself when you just look back at history and you look back at how once upon a time, in fact, in the early part of the 20th century and even towards the later part, entrepreneurs, business people, people who were titans of industry, those people were once lionized and idolized in society. The business page of the newspaper was the most popular page. Now, the sports section of the newspaper is the most popular page. When we all get around the water cooler, we're not talking about at work or the metaphorical water cooler. We're not talking about what business deal went down. The vast majority of us are talking about the game last night or the Super Bowl forthcoming or whatever. All right, I just said a whole bunch of stuff. Let me take a breath. Let me pass it off to you. See if you have any reactions to that.
Well, it's kind of bleeding into another topic we have tonight, like you said, with the whole stock market uncertainty going on with the shorting and the GameStop stuff. But I think you're just sort of like shining light on the fact that younger people, starting with people our age and less, are, they're kind of like questioning the more established industrialized version of how to invest and how to make money and how to take control of your own finances, and they're asking me why. Like, why do I have to invest in the stock market? This is boring. I don't care about the stock market. I have the internet at my fingertips. I can see everything and anyone at any time, and there's millions of things out there for me to put my time and effort and money into. Why do I have to do stocks? I just look at a graph on a screen that goes up and then down, and then that's it. Like, what else is there to it? And you're seeing that kind of transition itself into collectibles, video games, sports cards, Top Shot, for God's sakes, whatever it is, cryptocurrency. Like, there's all these different ways that people are getting involved and they're becoming more interested. YouTube, social media obviously play a huge, huge part in that. Different communities pop up. Everyone belongs to some community. They have some interests. They connect with different people in different ways. And frankly, like, a lot of people are just tired of the traditional Wall Street rich man controlling the way that their money runs. Like, with sports cards, you control how your money runs. You're the one that buys it and sells it whenever you feel like it. So to have like Wall Street people invest for you through funds and all these different 401k avenues where you're just supposed to trust that it's supposed to work for you and all this crap. I think people are just like, why would I do it that way? There's other, more fun ways that interest me more, that I connect to better. And that's kind of what you're touching on, is that worked back in the day when, people were idolizing businesses and investing in companies and making money that way. Society's changing, cultures change, people's interests change. And I think we're definitely seeing a lot of that right now.
Good point. Okay, so let me bring us on to a next question because it is bleeding into it. Ryan Bitter, or Mr. Lagan first says, Gary V comments versus Vegas Dave bubble busting. Okay, we just covered that. Ryan Bitter says, compare the GameStop stock to the card market. Are there any lessons to be learned? So let me kick that one to you. And maybe we should just recap briefly what's going on with the GameStop situation, which was brought about by the process of shorting GameStop stock, which was probably not an unwise short opportunity. It's a retail shop, and there's a pandemic going on, and retail is already phasing out, and people are shifting more and more to digital things. So it's not like a crazy idea to think that stock would go down. Basically what a short is, my understanding of it, I've never done it, but I've heard 10 people explain it now. Short is where you borrow the stock of the company that you wish to short, you sell it at that price, and then you are hoping that the stock will go down, because then you can go back and buy more shares after the price goes down, and you can return, because stocks are fungible, you can return the stock back to the person who lent it to you for that, whatever that period of time was. So the stock was being shorted, tremendously shorted by an inordinate amount, and lo and behold, some vigilantes, perhaps, I don't know what the right phrase is for them, decided instead that they would bid up that stock and organize on a relatively mass scale, using the internet, in particular Reddit, as the vehicle for doing so. And instead of letting that stock go down, in fact, they pushed it up. And many of them cited nostalgic connection to GameStop as one of the places that they absolutely loved as kids. And so they pushed that stock price up and up and up, and they continued to buy it and buy it and buy it. And in other words, they completely destroyed the short position that a number of hedge funds had taken on that stock. And I believe something around the order of $5 billion was wiped out for hedge funds. So, all right, that's a little primer. I'm sure I missed some things that you could maybe fill in, clean it up a little bit, but maybe you take it from here. The question being, compare GameStop stock to the card market. Are there any lessons to be learned?
One thing that jumps out at me is that like the power of FOMO is extremely strong, not just in cards, but in everything. Because the reason that it got so out of hand and the prices went so nuts is that a bunch of people, even like smart people that I know, friends that I work with, are like, I feel like I need to buy GameStop stock. I don't know anything about this. I guess I'm downloading Robinhood this week, or I'm getting on my E-Trade account trying to figure out how I can buy GameStop, because I don't want to miss out on like this 2x that everyone's making, right? So that there's the correlation there of like, oh my God, I'm never going to get my hands on an 86 Fleer Jordan. I have to buy it today. Like, this is my last chance. And if I don't buy it now, like, it's going to be $1 million card. I better. So there's like a lot of correlation to the FOMO and just how quickly things can get out of hand for that kind of stuff. So like, I think everyone expects eventually the GameStop stock will come back down. People will like forget about it and get bored of this, and it'll go back down. And so like that, that's happened several times in different aspects of the hobby. It's just, I guess in this case, it's more like the good feelings we pull from it are that like, there is the little man aspect of like this group rallying together to kind of go up against the big hedge fund, the big mean hedge funds. And I kind of see us as the collectors in this. We are Reddit, and maybe some of these like big industrial companies, paninis and grading companies and all this stuff are the hedge funds, and we can take back collecting for ourselves. I'm really stretching at this point, but there's some correlation maybe to that.
Yeah, I like that. It's another. So one theme that keeps coming up month after month on this show, it all goes back to a post that 90s basketball cards Jake had made about the life cycles of an asset bubble. And one of the points along the life cycle of a bubble is a phase, I believe it's called public mania, public euphoria. And we were asking a question not long ago, is the hobby, is sports cards as an industry, as something that's perceived as an investment, has it reached the phase of public mania? And I'm here to tell you that we are getting a dose of what public euphoria and public mania looks like in its purest form. And that is when I log on to Facebook and I see a series of numerous consecutive posts from people that I went to high school with who I haven't talked to in 10 years. And all of a sudden they are posting for the first time in months on their pages. And it's 10 paragraphs analyzing the socioeconomic and political implications of what this stock fiasco involving GameStop means for society. And then there's another, following those posts, there's a handful more posts discussing how Dogecoin or Dogecoin, pardon me, Dogecoin is absolutely the buy right now at 7 cents, because guess what? It used to be half of a cent. In the analysis of that, spreads another 3 to 4 paragraphs. That is what public euphoria, public mania is in its purest, most exaggerated form. So I feel confident using this as a baseline for what public mania looks like. I feel confident that we are not there in sports cards, but I certainly will feel nervous if I ever log into my Facebook page and there's post after post from people I haven't heard from in years explaining to me why the 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan is a buy at $10 million. Then I'll be panicked slightly.
Something that resonated with me while you're talking is that there's like this, and it's just basically the definition of FOMO, but it's this feeling that like I have to buy something because I feel like I have to buy this, as opposed to like people buying things that they want to buy, which is, it's crazy to say out loud, but it really happens where people just, they don't even want this damn thing. Who actually wants to buy Dogecoin? I don't even know what the fuck that means. What does that mean? I'm buying a coin of a dog? I don't even know what this is. Whereas like sports cards, we definitely feel like, I mean, a lot of us do, maybe not everyone, but we actually want to buy this stuff. That's what makes the market so strong, is that people actually want it. That's why I don't understand why everyone's like overthinking so many of these aspects of it and like undervalued and markets and rate change. Like if you want a collectible item and you want to collect it and own it, then you try to figure out how to buy it with money. There's just like, and that's what makes it valuable, is that there's, a desire to own those things. I made a post about that this week. So here's the graph. We're still in the second inning, guys. So let's just calm down. We're not even near the third. We're probably here in like takeoff phase. No, I mean, that's a joke. We're probably somewhere. When we talked about it that first time, we were somewhere like in that first sell-off. Remember that we had that bear trap in September or whatever. And then we got media attention. We got all these auctions, enthusiasm. We got all these new people commenting. I think we're kind of like at greed almost. We're like getting close.
Yeah. The one caveat that I would attach to the discussion, and I think you're right on, but the caveat I would attach to this is that the assumption here is that there is a bubble.
Sure.
That's a big assumption. Well, I can tell you that we definitely do have bubbles in sports cards. We survived another one in the last month. Tiger Woods, his cards went through a phenomenal boom and bust, but certainly not an unprecedented one. There it is. That's what it looks like. It looks like a middle finger. The graph gives you a middle finger. And then before that, last year, Project 2020, certain prospects in football and basketball, especially prism-based stuff, Mbappe, Prism, PSA 10s, some of the less rare Pokemon stuff. Like, guys, the bubbles, like we see bubbles in sports cards all the time. We've seen half a dozen in the last 12 months. But that's a different topic from whether the sports card industry on a macro level is in a bubble itself. And I just don't think that there is one unifying answer. There you go. I don't think that there is one unifying answer here. I think that different segments of the card market should be treated differently. There isn't one big sports card market. There are segmentations that happen based on investors versus collectors. I know which category of cards I want to be homing in on. I'm a collector, and I feel a lot more. I like collecting and collectibles a lot more than investing and investments. That's just my point of view on it. So, yeah, so what do you have pulled up here, dude?
This is my BMX dirt course that I'm working on. It's just like it's just the jumping of thing to thing. So the Ermsey Trout is the blue one. That's the first one. Then it was the Soccer Prism, and then it was Tiger Woods. There's one. I think there's a Pokemon in between, but I'm having trouble finding like the perfect one. So like here's the triple BMX track. I don't know dick about BMX, so I'm butchering the hell out of this, but that's all right.
Yeah, and there's more too. There's more cards that we could throw on there. These are just like the FOMO booms of like whatever. Like,
Here's the thing. The reason this should happen is that nobody wants to collect these 3 cards. They just wanted to make money. And when that happens, people make their money, and then people dump, and they move to the next one. And you're going to see this happen over and over and over. All these different YouTube channels, and everybody's going to tell you, this is how you get rich. This is the current buy, sell, hold, or whatever the hell. That stuff's just going to keep coming and going. We're just going to keep having these jumps and these dips and these falls, crazy volatility. Nobody actually wants this stuff, dude. And that's why it doesn't last. There's no history to someone wanting to own an Mbappe 2018 Prism PSA 10. There was for like a week, as we see here, and then it just like crashed because, nobody actually wanted that stuff long term.
Yeah. And there always is a residual market that follows the boom. It's not like it goes to zero. The cards retreat and are sustained at a certain point. But the fundamental question about any card that I ask myself when I'm trying to analyze is exactly what you articulated, which is, are people buying this card because they enjoy the pride of ownership that comes with it, because they want to show it off, because they love it? Or are they buying this card because they think that somebody else is going to be willing to pay even more money for it a month, 3 months, 6 months from now? Those two questions are not mutually exclusive. There are overlaps between those two, but cards in which people are buying them because they view them as collectible, they view them as things that enrich their lives, that make them enjoy life more, that enrich and allow them to enjoy the hobby, to participate in the community, to do all those things. That's a different category than items that are being purchased solely on the expectation that the price is going up. That's that. I don't want to oversimplify it because I think those two things overlap, but I think that is the key distinction that we find between cards that crash and cards that don't.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, like, it's really hard. I mean, from the outside, you can say, like, there was a cryptocurrency bubble or whatever, but I bet you a lot of people in the cryptocurrency game would just, like, scoff at that, because I'm sure there were pieces to it within the cryptocurrency world where, like, some things didn't crash as hard and some things crashed because of the hype and the FOMO. Like, the people that are in it and actually know how it works and, invest their time into it probably didn't get as wrecked as the common person because they knew where to actually store their money. Same thing with cards. Like, sure, some of this stuff's going to crash, and like the Fleer Jordan's probably going to have a dip because it's just going up too fast, and LeBron Topps Chrome will dip. And, some of this stuff might actually get back to like prices where it was a year ago. Who's to say that it won't? But there's a lot of cards out there that, like, you and I know that, we've been in the game long enough. If stuff went down to prices from 6 months ago on that, there would just be a line of people that you and I know that are like, dude, are you kidding? I would love for 6 months prices ago. I'm buying that at that price. And it kind of just goes back up a little bit, back to where, almost where it was. So it's just like, you just think about the supply and demand side of things of like, what do you think would actually hold based on knowing a group of people who would want to buy this that aren't just here, in the last couple of weeks or months. You almost can like exclude those people entirely because we don't have any patterns from them on what they want to collect and buy. We just know that they're hyping one card to the next. So think about like what collectors and people that have been in this game a long time would want to buy. Like what cards are they trying to chase and collect and do for fun? Those are the ones that are going to last the most.
Dude, so well said. I was talking, I won't name him because I don't have his permission to say it, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind, but I still would like to respect his privacy on that topic. But I was talking to a great Michael Jordan collector earlier today, who has been collecting Jordan since around 2014, 2015 era. He focuses heavily on inserts and grails. He's seen his collection expenditures go from around $100K that he's outlaid to now he has a collection probably $750,000 in value. But the entire nature of our conversation today was just reminiscing and bemoaning the fact that we can't buy the Jordans that we used to buy, that we love to buy in 2017. And instead, here we are speculating on Josh Jackson cards or something silly, trying to find the prism color that we can pick up because we just love to pick up cards. But like, just the price points that we used to be able to get stuff at, we can't get it at anymore. Those are the 100%. That's literally like, I never would have in a million years thought I would have collected a football player or Christian McCaffrey. But dude, we love the hobby even above any particular athlete or any particular sport. We love the hobby. We love cards. We want to be able to do cards and have mail days and have stuff coming in and do trades and upgrades and enjoy stuff and move it in and move it out. That is the most reassuring thing to me when thinking about, am I going to be able to enjoy this hobby for the rest of my life? Are we going to protect this thing? Are we going to make sure that we safeguard this hobby that we have? I love, people who speak and think in those terms of, man, I wish we could just go back in time and just go back to collecting cards and having fun again. That's I think that a lot of people in this chat relate to that as well.
Yeah, that bubble chart that I showed where it was like, it looks like this. This is the bubble chart. It's like exactly, that's what I'm saying. There's like mini bubbles. It's like, oh, here's the first like wave. Oh, here's the bear trap and the sell-off. Oh, here's the like euphoria and greed. Oh, here's like the correction. Back to normal. Like if you look at this graph, draw a line straight through it. It's literally just like, just ignore this giant BMX jump and just like pretend it didn't happen and back to normal.
Love that point, dude, because there is a residual effect there. Now that it's back to just the people who like Tiger Woods or people who want that card and they're not speculating on how much is this documentary going to make it worth. Instead, it's just like, yeah, we just want this card again. And like you pointed out, the card is, if you just plot the line, and remove the outlier period there, it's a normal growth. It's just a healthy, normal growth pattern.
It's doing fine. This is a card I've owned it before, but if prices dipped, I would just be like, okay, time to figure out how to get this. But now I saw a rumor that one sold for like 200 and something. That I'm just like, whatever. That card's gone. I'm not gonna pay 200 grand, 200 whatever. I guess I gotta figure something else out. I'm not infinitely rich. I can only have so many LeBron cards at this point.
It's true. It's true. Okay. Another hot topic.
Right.
Lots of hot topics. For sure. And we have two more big topics, I think. The last one is a lot of fun. But this one is a little more serious, maybe. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. What the hell? Let me stop prefacing it. This comes from Beanor14 Sports Cards. The comment is, thoughts on Bill Simmons' discussion of cards on the latest Bill Simmons podcast. So he's talking about the Bill Simmons, the big boy, the Bill Simmons podcast, where he had on a guest Mike, who has a new show on The Ringer. And he said, and Beanor goes, who knew that Bill Simmons was on the board of directors for Topps? This is awesome stuff. So I think you listened to this. I listened to it a few days ago. I think you listened to this Bill Simmons podcast as well.
Yeah.
You want to weigh in on that? Because I was blown away. I was floored by Bill Simmons navigating the history of the hobby, 1948 Bowman basketball to 1957. I just loved it. So what do you think?
I thought it was fantastic. I've always loved Bill Simmons. I think he's really entertaining. I think people like him because he doesn't really he doesn't sound like a traditional journalist. He kind of just sounds like a fan who's like writing about sports, and he writes about really interesting. He thinks about it in interesting ways. He makes cool ranking systems that are different than anyone else. trade value rankings versus just like, you know, traditional rankings. He's just like a cool, interesting guy. And he kind of seems like an underground nerd a little bit, which is awesome. Like he really like, it just like really resonated with me. He was talking about how he's been going to the national shows for a long time and how it was just like an underground feel to him, and he just sort of enjoyed that. And I took that as like, you know, he's in the limelight, so maybe cards were kind of his escape from the general public, where he could just go and like be himself and, you know, connect to cards and memorabilia in whichever way he liked. So I thought that was really cool, and I thought that was neat. And then, you know, it's turned into, you know, he's going to add a show to the Ringer, which is good for exposure. I'm not sure that I really like the actual show or whatever that it's turned into be. So I just kind of hope that I can just leave it in my memory of Bill Simmons and how he handles the hobby and stop there, because I know what it's going to turn into.
Right. Okay. So Bill was talking about he collects uncut sheets, which is something that does not appeal to me at all as a collector, but that's definitely a highly, you know, there are people who love the uncut sheets. Remember when you interviewed Arena Design, I think they showed off several of their uncut sheets that were just like unbelievable.
Right.
So that was a cool aspect of that. Bill also made some interesting observations. He said he was talking about Bob Cousy as a guy who he just can't understand why Bob Cousy is like trading for cheaper than I think Tyler Hero was the comp that
Bob
was
Pettit.
made. Oh, Bob Pettit. I'm sorry. Okay, Bob Pettit. And you know, he was just he definitely is. You know, you had highlighted an account months ago on Instagram that just was like a really cool collector oriented account that had key rookie cards of just like everybody.
Yeah.
And that Bill Simmons strikes me as that guy. You know, he's gonna have Wilt's rookie card. He's gonna have the Big O's rookie card. He's gonna have the Jordan rookie. He's gonna have the LeBron rookie. Like he just strikes me as a guy who's like that type of collector. There you go. He's gonna have Sandy Koufax. He's gonna have, you know, rest in peace, Hank Aaron. You know, he's gonna have all that type of stuff. So you know, I think Jackie Robinson.
He's a collector.
Totally. You know, honestly, anybody who was going to the National 10 years ago, you know, probably was a collector. There still was speculation and people using sports cards as a vehicle to make plays and gamble, but definitely much likelier that somebody was focused on collecting. And Bill mentions that sports cards play a role in the book of basketball, so that just made me go to Amazon and order that book finally. So I was very impressed with the range and command of knowledge that Bill Simmons displayed. Oh, and one other thing. He answered a question that I'd never have had answered for me before. When we add all-time sales history to the card ladder database, something very interesting happens. The all-time sales histories that we access, our research methods allow us to go back to 2003 and 2004 in terms of eBay sales data. And most auction houses don't even go back that far. But eBay does. And so we were looking at that data, and there was like something happening in 2004. Prices were high in 2004, and then they receded and came back down in the mid to late aughts. And I always wondered about this. Why is this happening? And Bill Simmons says that it was the looming and then the actualized ubiquity of eBay as a platform of choice for people to buy and sell cards that first created a boom, because everybody was like, this is fantastic that I can go on eBay. I don't have to go to a show. I don't have to go to a shop. Suddenly the whole world of cards is open to me. And it was a boom. And then it was a bust, because everybody was like, holy crap, every card is now on eBay. I can go get it whenever I want to go get it. So
I went crazy, yeah.
Yeah, so there's no need to rush. There's no need to compete against each other. I'll just wait for the next one to come up. So there was like a boom and a bust pattern that seemed to happen there from 2004 into the mid to late aughts. So I want to give a hat tip to Bill for explaining that too, for those of us like me who were not even close to thinking about the hobby back then in 2003-04. So, okay, now the related topic. This one comes from Kenny J. What are your thoughts on the new Ringer Sports Card podcast? So Bill introduced the host of the new podcast, And so Kenny J wants to know our thoughts on that podcast. His comment was, I thought it was a pretty tough listen.
Yeah, I really want to support, all YouTube as much as I can, all the, people that we support making content in the sports card hobby. A lot of it is good for the hobby. It's good for the growth, the exposure. This is obviously going to increase exposure in the hobby. The Ringer is a big show. It's good. I thought it was really bad. It was like almost unwatchable, dude. It was really painful. And if those guys see this, I'm sorry, I guess. It was not for me at all.
Well, I'll tell you, our first podcast was terrible. In fairness, like the first House of Jordans podcast was abysmal. So it's okay to be bad. I think we have to be honest, though.
I guess I'm just not a fan of like a sports card show where half of the hosts, multiple times say they don't know anything about sports or cards. So like, what am I? Okay, they're like, how are you qualified then to tell me what to buy and sell? So it's just the one guy telling us what to buy and sell. And it's just another, hype, pump and dump, crappy top 5, whatever the fuck, buy this card this week show. Like, it's the same as everything else. Like, I don't want to, I've seen that stuff over and over. I want to see people talk about cards and expose people to like,
Yeah. I'm gonna have to completely agree with this. The hobby, we need to find the way to balance our enthusiasm and optimism with respect to the fact that sports cards are gaining more and more of a foothold in the national media, and the prestige that is conferred by having a podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network is a small step forward for the hobby, maybe even a medium-sized step. That confers a sense of legitimacy on sports card content that hitherto, that's a word for my friend Lefko, did not exist. Okay, it was not here. So this is a layer of legitimacy that is transforming us from being independent YouTube content creators to all of a sudden the Ringer, which is a great podcast network, is officially putting out sports card content. So that is something worth celebrating. We should take a moment and celebrate that as a community. Okay, but then what happens next? So as a community, we need to have standards, and we need to be willing to draw lines in the sand from time to time when we need to, and bearing in mind that feelings may be hurt. I've had hobby vets coat check me from time to time and say, look, dude, you are doing something wrong here, or I know that you're not acting in bad faith, but you need to revise what you're doing because it's not right. I remember when I first started collecting Jordans and doing it on Instagram, I was posting all these screenshots of eBay, like back in 2016, like, oh, look at this card, this is cool. And people came to me and they were like, dude, you can't just post a bunch of sales. You need to analyze it a little bit. You need to say something substantive. Otherwise, it just kind of seems like you're just hyping stuff. And I was like,
sure.
This is a terrific point. It really stung me at first when that happened to me. And then I now look back and say, that was one of the best things that happened to me, because people had the courage to say to me, and they knew I was not going to like it, as any person wouldn't, dude, you're screwing up a little bit. Here's how to do it better. Check yourself. So, okay, with that said, we have a little bit of experience in content creation, not much, speaking for myself, but a little bit. And as a community, we need, as a group, to say what our standards are and what they aren't. I think we provide a lot of leeway, and we allow a lot of different types of content to get made, and we just consume what we want to consume. We make choices. We let sort of the free market decide, to use the term of the week. We let the market decide what people like and what they don't like. But when the prestige of the Ringer is conferred on a sports card content platform, that's a little bit different. Now we need to get a little bit more stringent, I think, with our standards. And we need to say that we're not going to consume. We're not, as a community, we're not going to rally around and consume content just because it's on the Ringer. There are certain things that we look for, certain standards that we have. We're not looking for a show that's telling us, hey, and it's overly commoditizing sports cards to the point where, it just feels like this is a sports card that we think is a good buy. Then you should sell it, and we'll all make money. And that's just not the vibe of the hobby. That's a part of the hobby, and it deserves a place, but it's not the heart of the hobby. I'm not going to get too precise with the critiques. I think everybody is well-intentioned and is aiming to do something excellent and to elevate the hobby. I think that's terrific. And I think whoever it was who was installed in this slot of the ringer was going to be facing an enormous, impossible task. So whoever it was, this was going to happen. But as a community, we need to have standards, and we need to enforce those standards and help our content creators grow and evolve, so that when the thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people who get exposed to sports cards for the first time through a medium like this, that, it's done in a way that coheres with our values and the things that we know are going to let sports cards be sustainable and enjoyable for a long time. So that's my little rant on that.
I think you and I are pretty self-aware that we're not going to have these giant audiences that a lot of these other content creators are going to have, just because we kind of, we don't talk about that kind of stuff. We just don't, we don't post pictures of us pointing to the sky and everything, every card going up. Here's how to make money in 5 days. That kind of content just attracts more of an audience, I guess, for whatever reason. So we're self-aware that we're probably not going to get to that point, and we're staying true to ourselves and the content we want to produce and holding to our own values. And if that's what it means, then so be it. I guess we just kind of have to do our best to try to correct some of the stuff that comes out of that content the way we feel best, and try to educate people around it as best we can. But we can't. I can't make people not watch pump and dump videos. I don't have the power, but all I can do is say what I think. So we do our best in this show, and we know that you guys stick around and watch us, guys and gals that watch the show. We know you guys all stick by us, and hopefully you get a lot of value out of the show, and you like listening to us, and it's fun, and we hope it's not just doom and gloom all the time, and we bring you some insightful things to think about and shift your mindset on collecting and cards and everything around it. But it does kind of stink that did we miss the auditions for that show? I feel like it just sort of happened, and I was like, what the hell? This guy? Come on.
Well,
we got to name collect cards. He's like, oh yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce their names. Oh my god, every breaker doesn't know how to pronounce their names. Now I have to watch another guy doesn't know how to pronounce guys' names, and he's going to tell me about what cards to buy.
Yeah, so there definitely could be a strategy behind that. The strategy being, let's have a relatable person to somebody who doesn't hobby at all, so that this person leads to the next person. But yeah,
people they know sports. That's the thing. Get someone who knows sports but not the hobby. That's the connection you make, not the guy who doesn't know anything about sports.
Yeah, and I know, so Josh Luber and Jason Concepcion were on a live stream tonight, and that is the thesis of that stream. Jason knows sports extremely well. He works at the Ringer. Very well-known personality there. And Josh Luber is supplying the card wisdom in the sports card market insight. And obviously that guy is a savant when it comes to all sorts of tech-related intersection with, niche culture, whether it's sneakers or sports cards. So that's a great recipe right there. I think that if you just, look, this is going to sound like a plug, but it's also fact. If you scroll the Card Ladder newsfeed on cardladder.com and just look at the podcasts and the content creators that we post new content from, there's a lot of terrific content creators there. I mean, one could build a formidable roster of hobby content creators just by pouring over that list. So, I just think there's a lot of great content out there.
Yeah, there is.
There's just a lot of great stuff to consume. As a hobby, it would be great if we did have content creation that was sort of leading the way, that we could all rally behind and was being elevated all at the same time. And maybe this new show will become that. One avenue that it could take to become that would be collaborating with veteran content creators on a regular basis, So they're putting out 2 episodes per week. I think it would be terrific if they collaborated with every single person on that feed, cycling through them. Get Brett from Stacking Slabs, get Kyle from Wax Museum, get Jake from 90s B-Ball, get Luca Tigers LeBrons, get all these guys and collaborate with one of them each week. And that would be a terrific way to funnel a lot of great content into the hobby space using the tremendous platform of The Ringer. So these are just some thoughts here on that show. Anyway, I've said my piece on it, and I'm wishing it well. So do you have any more thoughts you'd like to add on that one?
No.
Okay. Let me move on to the next question here. Next question comes from Goats and Grails. He says, I am at the Dallas show, and it is Bethlehem. People not even asking for discount. The religious metaphor is getting me here. People not even asking for discounts, just buying stuff. Cash money. I saw a 12-year-old hand a dealer $10,000 in cash for a LeBron card. I also did an unofficial survey with a dozen dealers. The hottest players here are Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, Durant, and Tatis. So we have some on-the-ground reporting coming in from the Dallas show, which I believe is like 500 tables. It's just a gigantic show. Do you have any reactions to what we're hearing from people who are on the scene?
I've heard the same thing. I heard that people are just like buying anything Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Jeter. And if you've watched me scroll through these graphs tonight while Chris is talking, like every single, no matter what it is, are you looking at these graphs? This is the next. This is the next.
Yes,
soccer or whatever. It's just like common, not iconic Jordan, Kobe, LeBron stuff. Like anything you can look at this graph. Are you kidding me? This is 1 month. This is like. Like what in the actual F is happening right now?
Are you
every
showing
single card?
Sorry. Are you showing like all time on these, or is that the
Years.
last year, 2 years? Okay.
I'll do 1 year. It'll look the same.
Oh, I know.
It's like
I know.
It's just all in the last month.
Yes. Yep.
Like look at this stuff. This is like these are like cards that nobody gave a crap about a month and a half ago, and now they're like every single one of these. Every one I scroll by, they all look the same. This is the next Tiger Woods. How do we categorize this? It's just like not iconic big name player cards.
Even iconic ones are not impervious to this. There was a vintage boom last fall. There's another sort of like semi-vintage boom on the way now. Like even iconic cards, even the 86 Flair, which is now at Golden. There's 2 that are at 300,000 before the juice. There was one that sold on eBay last night, a bin at 350K. We have not approved that sale into Card Ladder's database yet, although it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm waiting for confirmation from the seller because that's just too much of a big time sale to just willy-nilly throw into a database, especially when we can wait for the Golden ones to end. But even cards like that, it doesn't. In 2016, this same category of cards doubled and then halved over the course of 6 months. So this is not unprecedented. Past isn't prologue either. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen again, but there is strong precedent for these, ludicrous run-ups.
That stuff's gonna crack. It's gonna crack hard. I mean, you and I have been talking about like buying GOAT players and like trying to find new avenues. So, like this obviously isn't like because of us saying it, but it's definitely cards that we've been like, oh, don't just buy the same rookie cards you see over and over. Try to find different stuff, and this is kind of what that is a little bit to an extent. And even though you and I are the ones that have like talked about these kind of cards more than the base Prism, younger guy stuff, which is not doing well right now. Even now, you and I have to be like, okay, guys, like, yeah, this is cool, but like, dude, this is not going to work. It's going to go back down. You guys are crazy. And everybody that I talk to that's buying this kind of stuff is like, no, I mean, this is the real stuff. This is like, these are the legends. This is what we've been talking about. Everyone should be having their money in this. Yes, that's great, but like, markets cannot withstand 10x growth in 1 month. It's not real. Like, this is just not sustainable. I don't care what player it is. I don't care what card it is. This is not real. This stuff is going to come back down. Look at this. Every line is like a straight up, like straight up. It's like, yeah, Jeter is amazing. You're right. That card is pop 5,000. There are 5,000 of these. You don't think people that own these want to, let's see, 4x their money in 1 month? Of course they do. They're going to sell this stuff. Like, this is not going to last.
And so it is interesting. It presents a really interesting permutation to the trend of the last year.
What the hell?
It's a really interesting development because the herd is getting smarter. This is a smarter play, right?
Too fast, though. Too fast.
Too fast. So, like, this is maybe the greed part of the bubble cycle right now, right? That might be this. Too fast.
On that ringer show, they were kind of alluding to some of these cards, and he was basically like, yeah, I know what Brady cards are doing. Like, everything's going crazy, but like, guys, these are the best cards ever. Keep buying it. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? You're recommending that people continue to buy cards at 4x the price of a month ago? How is that good advice for anyone? Who is telling people to keep buying? This is like Trae Young level type pump and dump stuff. Like, what's going on?
And there was some bad facts being doled out on that show. Like, the idea that there's this myth in the hobby, but it makes sense. It's completely common sense. I understand why people think it. But there's a myth that when a player wins, even a GOAT, whether it's Brady, LeBron, when they win, that means their cards are just going to skyrocket at that moment in time. And it does not work that way. It works the opposite. People are making their bets leading up to the event. If the event goes as they hoped, then that triggers a sell, precisely because the thesis is that this is a great time to sell. And even though demand for the player goes up, the supply overwhelms it. This happened after Mahomes won his first Super Bowl. This happened after LeBron got his 4th ring. This happened after The Last Dance concluded to MJ cards. This happened to Tom Brady after he got his last Super Bowl. This is empirical data. This is fact. There's no speculating here. We have the data now. We have data tools in the hobby now. We can go back and look at this stuff. So, there's just and the great thing is, though, is that ironically, a great time to buy these players is after they have a big moment. And that's when collectors win. Collectors absolutely win because they wait, they see Mahomes get his 2nd or Brady get his 7th or whatever, however many it is. And then they go and they say, man, I'd really like to add a card to this guy. And guess what? It's a buyer's market because everybody's trying to sell because they think it's the right time to sell, and it's not. It's the right time to buy. So.
Yeah, there's just like a massive run up on all this stuff. So like, it's like, Mahomes cards in the last, so this would have been November to now has over 2x. It's just like, it's going to hit a point where it's going to eventually correct a little bit and go back down. It's probably going to be after he wins the Super Bowl, like you said. So I don't know, man. I love that people are getting into the hobby and they're getting all excited, but dude, like, pay attention a little bit here. Like, you can't just buy stuff at 4x the price that it was a month ago and expect to do well. You're just going to get crushed.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. I mean, granted I'm sorted by like monthly change, so like this is expected, but damn.
Yeah. So great point. But it's the same logic that we see happening with like Dogecoin and all that stuff too. Is like, oh, it 18x in the last week. That means it's gonna 500x in the next week. No, doesn't mean that. All right.
We're out of time, right? Or
yeah, I don't know. Instagram's been letting me go longer, but I just feel like
the live button to see what time.
Oh, right. Christina just knows everything. Okay, we're at 15.
I remember I first what?
What's that?
15 seconds?
No, we have. I don't know. We've been going for 59 minutes, so it's a good time to take a little break here and then come back for hour 2.
Yep.
I do have the Mavericks game on for those in the chat who are trolling. I do have that game on, and I have a nice bag of beef jerky here to keep me going. And so I am watching this painful bloodbath unfold before my very eyes. So,
Don't break up the Jazz, dude. Jazz won the finals today. Did you know
that? Yeah, they're. Let's just crown them now.
The Jazz and the Hawks are playing in the finals after tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting finals. I can't wait to see Rudy Gobert set a moving screen on every play, and Trae bump his butt, and Trae going to bump his butt into everybody and get a foul, and Steve Nash is going to rage about it.
Someone on Instagram said Trae Young is the best point guard in the league. I had to just throw my phone.
The best point guard in the league, according to what?
After tonight's game. Tonight's game, bro.
Why? Because they beat the worst team in the league?
Well, he had 41. What don't you understand? You have one good game, you're the best point guard in the entire league. Forget Steph Curry, forget Luka. It doesn't matter. He's the best point guard in the league now.
Well, then what's Bradley Beal, the GOAT?
All right, I'll see you in a little bit.
All right. Back for hour 2. The fun hour. Maybe my cheeks will be less red by the end of this hour.
Maybe if we didn't have the freaking heater on high blast.
We do have a heater on high blast. Not right now. It's a nice heater too, by the way.
You're welcome. Why are you showing that? You're so weird.
It's like technology. Technology impresses me. Where's Josh at? Josh. There he goes. Let's go. That hat is sharp.
Hat game.
That hat is extra sharp. By the way, I forgot to say this on the first one, but the newest episode of Sports Cards Culture featuring Josh wearing that hat has hit YouTube. So please, if you just can't get enough of us, there's more. There's more content there.
Can't imagine people would say that, but okay.
Yeah. All right. So halftime here. That was we touched on a lot of topics in that first hour.
Yep.
Do you want to tie up any loose threads or anything, or are we ready to move on to some more hour 2 style topics here?
I was thinking about a little bit about how like people want stuff to just kind of go up incredibly fast in an incredibly short amount of time, and they want it so much that it actually does happen in a lot of cases. But if you just think about and people are trying to make the case that like, no, this one's the real one, it's going to hold. If you just think about anything of value today, like all of it that you can think of has taken time to get to that point. Everything that you really have a strong connection to is something that's been built up over years and years. I was thinking about like, if you think about a company like Amazon, you're like, I use Amazon for everything. Like they're the best. I rely on them so much. That company started in like 1994. You think that like Amazon just popped up overnight and was like, here we are, we're going to take over the world and, all products are going to go through. No, it took years and years and years of building things, of smart people, of innovative technologies, of trust built up over time, of, hitting on deadlines for customers millions of times over and over. It didn't just happen overnight. None of this stuff does. And if it does, you should really question it. I mean, even the great Jordan, LeBron, we're talking about 15, 20 years and years of connections built, of games played, of fandom, obsession. It's just all this stuff just takes years, and you just can't force it in a year or 6 months.
Well said, man. Well said. Shortcuts to success, they never really, even if they work, even if they work, they're just not pleasant. Everything about them repulses me.
What's the phrase? Good things take time, or is there like a
That works.
Good things come to those who wait.
Wait.
Good thing comes to those who wait.
I think that's just even the new Ringer show. It's just like they're all excited about all the gains in the last month. It's just like, can't we just? That's why I liked how Bill Simmons' episode really like touched on it nicely. He kind of explained the full history of it and gave people a nice background, how we got here, and then handing it over to the new team. It's just like, oh, what's hot right now? What are we talking about today, tomorrow? Like, who's going to be blowing up after the game? It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, and you know what? Sports cards, they never really worked like that anyway. Sustainable success in sports cards doesn't come from one big game. That leads to bubbles and bursts. Sports cards is a long game. Sports cards is for the blue chip thinker. Those are the people who prevail and who come to love sports cards, in my point of view.
Sports too.
Sports too.
You got to prove it. I mean, what have you done for me lately? Kind of, you got to do it over and over, and you got to keep doing it enough times where you just beat it into people's brains that, like, okay, I'm really tired of questioning LeBron and Brady. Like, they just keep coming back. I don't know why I keep thinking they're going to lose, because they just keep winning.
All right, so we have a very serious question for hour 2. Comes from Jesse J. Pender. Would Josh drink Zima if it was still a thing?
I don't think I've ever had a Zima. I think I was too young when it died, so I don't even know what it tastes like. Is it? I mean, what is it? Is it like a seltzer or I don't know.
I guess. Christina, what's Zima?
I have no idea.
None of us know.
If Josh was too young, I was too young to know it.
Why, aren't you about the same age?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, all right.
Really the same age. Like, how would I know?
You're making it seem like you're 10 years younger than him or something.
I'm sure Josh started drinking before I did, is what I'm trying to say.
Wow. I started drinking when I was 15 years. No, I'm just kidding. Down here in the bayou.
Okay. Now that
I quickly quit when I was like 22.
Now that we've got Card Gems 23 says, I was a blue chip thinker in middle school trading for Ken Griffey cards. Yeah, you were, man. You were. Zika was an amazing alcohol commercial in the 90s where everyone was super hot and stuck to their couches, and Zima made it 25 degrees colder. Yeah, I remember that. Definitely remember that.
Come back.
Zika, like something you get from
No, I think that was a typo. Yeah, he meant Zima. Maybe there was like a competing brand, Zika and Zima.
Man.
Okay. All right. Another important question on the horizon from Mike Pinkerton 50. We want to meet Josh's wife and see what she thinks of all this. So, I don't know.
I was like joking with her this week that like some of my friends that like my regular day-to-day friends that aren't in the hobby, like they kind of like ask me about the hobby and the successes of Card Ladder and stuff like that, and they're always just like, oh, it's just so amazing, you're doing what you love. I'm just so happy. And like, what does your wife think? And I'm always like, she's used to it. And they're like, what? She doesn't like freak out about how amazing it is? And I'm like, no, she's kind of used to it. She's heard me talk about it for years. And so I was joking with her that like, now every time I have good news about the hobby, she's like, oh my gosh, that's so what she's like trying to.
I feel like the sarcasm is strong in that relationship.
Oh, are you kidding me?
In a healthy way.
Ours is based on sarcasm and like joking around.
Okay. Let me get back to some of the questions, because we only got to like 5 and there's over 100. Hometown Authentic said, we need to find a way to start shorting, parentheses, bet against players, Bagley, Alonzo, and Say Hey Sports Cards says, if you could short a specific player, if you could short a specific card, what would it be, and why is it Trey? So I don't know. Do you want to talk about the concept of shorting sports cards? We had talked about this. You had talked about this before, but this was now everybody thinking about shorting all of a sudden. So
I wish I could have shorted Trae Young. His cards are going down like a rock.
You just have to find somebody who would lend me 3 Trae Youngs. for a month.
I'm not even sure how that became legal in the stock market. Like, I just don't understand that concept, I guess. Maybe I'm
It's
not.
silly. It's a
They
weird
have,
concept.
they have to buy it back at what you borrowed it at? Seems odd. Like, oh yeah, I'll give you the exact same even though it's worth less. I don't really see how that would work. That was what was so interesting about this whole GameStop thing, was that like a lot of people were really annoyed at the double standard that was, hedge funds and people are basically allowed to legally attempt to destroy companies by shorting them into the ground and just like profiting off of other people's pain. And now that the tables have turned and the other people are making a company more prosperous in a disingenuous way, now all of a sudden, oh, that, we need to start regulating that. That's not supposed to happen. Like, why is it that these big hedge funds are allowed to do nefarious things, but we're not? So that was kind of interesting. Yeah, the shorting thing is, I don't know. I don't want that in cards. It's like I don't want people to be able to try to actively bring down someone. Like, these are real people, and athletes. I don't know that I want to be able to. I don't want to read an article that like, oh, Lonzo. If I was Lonzo Ball and his family, I don't know that I want to read an article that I'm the most shorted, like sports card. That'd be horrible.
That'd be like a new index on Card Ladder. Most shorted player presently. Aaron Sorkin was on Bill Simmons' podcast yesterday commenting on this topic, and he said he doesn't like shorting. He has a complex opinion on it, but he said he doesn't like it because he doesn't like betting against things.
Yeah.
Better to root for. Let me root for rather than bet against. But perhaps that's a little bit naive. But we're looking at the card market today, especially for prospects, and would have been a good time to short them right around the time a couple of content creators were very loudly what's the word that I want to use here? We're very loudly singing the praises of these prospects as investment opportunities. Nothing was more predictable, especially on the heels of the football season, than the fact that the young prospects who had been bid up to unfathomable amounts in the offseason would come down quite a bit once the season started. And there was no more room to speculate. Now we have to actually live with results.
Guess what I would start buying right now?
Those guys.
Dude, it's just like, it's not that hard. Just do the opposite of everybody else.
Yeah, but you have to train your mind to think that way, and a lot of people don't think that way. Lameme has a great meme about this is how I do the hobby, right? And it's the guy buying at the peak and selling at the valley over and over and over again. Yeah.
It sounds easy. It really does. Like, it's easy to just say like, oh yeah, just like buy it when it's low and sell when it's high. It's really easy to say that, but you're right. Like the emotion, the FOMO, all that stuff kind of overtakes, and it happens to me. Even like I was looking at Pokemon cards right when the boom started happening, because it like gave me that nostalgia of like when I used to collect Pokemon and I got excited and I bought some, and it's just like, oh man, what am I doing?
Yeah, no, it's not like these. It's not like the boom just. It's just like a complete mystery why people buy in and buy in and buy in, even as it goes up and up and up the elevator. There's real emotion behind that. We feel it. We all know how that feels. Somehow you have to find a way to guard against it. But I'll tell you, when prices go low, it feels like they're going to keep going lower, and when they go high, it feels like they're going to keep going higher. It's easy to say. To identify a buying window. It's a lot harder to then take the plunge and actually do it. I know you've done it year after year after year. I've done it on a few occasions, but it's hard, man. It's hard to buy when a market.
You know how I get over it? I'll give you a little tip. So like right now, Christian McCaffrey, he went down. Michael Thomas for me went down. Do you think? And it's a really easy feeling to get caught up in, like, those guys are going to keep going down. They're done. They had a bad year. They're injured. Like, this is it. You think those two gentlemen are going to come back next year thinking that? No. they're going to think about how they're going to get back to MVP form, 99 Madden rating. Those guys are so egotistical in their like desire to be the best. Just think about those individuals and how they're gonna assess this situation. McCaffrey's gonna come back like a beast next year, guaranteed. Saquon Barkley, same thing. He's gonna be driven to prove something and come back and dominate or whatever. Buy them when they're at their all-time lows, man. Come on, man.
Dude, totally. You know, the thing that powers me through as well and has kept me buying McCaffrey throughout this season and now is that, man, I just love getting the mail days and getting the cards. And I just love collecting them. And that kind of overcomes all. And, like, when you find a player or a set or a category or an area of the hobby where you don't feel like you're overextending yourself, you know, you can almost perceive it as an entertainment cost. But, man, it would be cool if other people were collecting this right alongside you, but you don't care. You'll do it yourself anyway. That's how I power through. And that's been one of the happy accidents of Jordan collecting is that there is no real play-related peaks and valleys for Jordan. It's just a market that, you know, is driven by how many people want to buy and sell them at any time. So you just buy Jordan all season long and in the off season. It doesn't matter. You just keep buying, just keep buying, just keep buying. And, you know, that's the approach I've taken we took towards Luka, and that's the approach I'm taking out towards McCaffrey. I'm just buying them. Just if a card comes up that I like, I'm buying it. I'm paying the fair price for it at the time. And then I feel amazing because I have it sit in my PC. All right. This question came in from 13 Publius 13. Great commenter. How to help someone struggling with an addiction to commodity cards?
An addiction? I guess it's an addiction because it's just like so easy to get more of it, right? It's just like the drug that doesn't stop. How to get over the addiction to commodity cards? Oh. I guess.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it is a really good question. It's hard. I think oh gosh, it's like, you know, go cold turkey. Don't buy anything for like a month.
Just cut yourself off.
Turkey. Just stop by. Yeah, it's like, oh God, that's the worst advice ever. I think it's like maybe like throwing yourself into something completely out of your element. You know, like go pick a random lane that you've never looked into and like force yourself to research and understand that market. I think the thing about commodity cards is that like the reason people buy them and they're so easy it's easy. There's no research needed. I just like, yeah, Prism PSA 10. I don't have to know anything. I just buy it. It takes a savvy collector, investor, a creative person to like get into a market and like actually research it and understand all the ins and outs of it. So like somehow to like force yourself into researching something new.
Yeah. That's decent advice.
Show them a card that's actually cool. Actually, yeah, sure. Go to Card Ladder and just start searching. We've got lots of cool random rare stuff.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff there. Can't Right. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. You ever felt addicted to commodity cards?
No. God, no.
No, me neither. Maybe somebody who does have that could speak about it a little bit. And
because it's like you buy one, you buy it, and then you buy the second, and you're like, oh my God, I'm never gonna get them all. There's just infinite of them. I just give up.
Right. Yeah. No, commodity cards make me nervous. I get one, let's say, and then I go on eBay and there's 500 of them. I'm just like, somebody's gonna buy all these.
I was trying to buy a card. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to pump it or hype it. I was trying to buy a certain card, and I went on eBay, and I was like, oh, cool. I started, like, watching one, and, like, oh, there's another one. Let me watch that. Oh, there's another one. Like, 6 pages later, I'm like, oh, my God, there's, like, a million of them. I give up. I thought this card was rare. It's not rare. I should just walk away.
Yeah. Isn't my desk swimming in commodity cards? Yeah, more or less. Not anymore, though, man. You'll be happy to know.
Look who's talking.
You'll be happy to know, the hobby will be happy to know that I sent a grading order to the Great SoCal Sports Cards in the amount of 1,175 cards. So PSA graders, I'm
Get
your
ready.
employer, baby. You answer to
You
me
need,
now. I pay your salary, guys.
I got a new nickname for you. You ready?
What's that?
The Milkman.
What do you think about that nickname, Christina?
What nickname?
They're gonna call me the Milkman because I got nothing but commodity cards, milk cards. She has nothing.
I have nothing.
Look, I ripped those boxes. You shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right, exactly. But listen, the reason why I have commodity cards in those quantities is because we have opened so much way. That was an accumulation of crap going back 4.5, almost 5 years. So we sent in something like 20 Jokic, Donruss base cards, rookies, even more Christian Woods. Just so much crap, and that's like the unspoken agreement between Christina and I is like we love to rip. She loves to rip, especially. I do too, though. But then we buy the box, but then I get to grade all the cards and sell them, so that at the end of the day we break even at least. And actually, we're gonna do way better than breaking even, just because we kept tens of thousands of 2018 Prism cards that we pulled back when those boxes were $200 to $250.
So speaking of addictions, we got the coffee breakers, we got the yogurt flippers, we got the what's that other one? What's the other one?
Pop count, Chris. Oh yeah, we got the
Soda
yogurt.
poppers.
Yeah. All types of break-in and food items.
All right, let's move on, dude. Are we doing Jordan's question?
Yeah, we are. I love how the chat's trying to toe the line between hating me and not, because I am the reason why PSA is backed up idiots like me.
They're like, good for you, Chris, you motherfucker. You're gonna...
I don't know. Pop count Chris might stick. Okay, so Jordan Hagedorn writes in, this is a great question. We talk about this indirectly, or maybe even directly at times. He says, can we briefly address selfish hobbyists who only talk about and pump their own cards? Yes, we can, Jordan. Yes, we can.
Ugh, trying to get me in trouble again. I feel like I've ranted on this so many times. Like, obviously, like, really pisses me off, and I get super angry about it. So, trying not to do that right now. It just sucks. It's just so many people that just post the same goddamn card they own like a million times, and I've said it, like, have some humility for once in your life. Just try.
I think that's the most delicate way of putting it. I think we'll just leave it there. Just want to acknowledge the issue. It bears acknowledgement.
God.
Okay. All right. Let's move on here.
Yeah.
Speaking of pumping up cards, final price predictions. This comes from CD Cards. Final price predictions for the biggest golden auctions ending this week. Do you have any?
On like specific cards or what?
Yeah, so let me see. They obviously didn't put any specific cards, but I think I do have the auction pulled up. Mantle, PSA 8 is one, and that already is an all-time high. 1 of 1. Zion, 1 of 1. LeBron, second year, 1 of 1. Luka Gold. Jordan, Luka, Jordan, Curry. I don't know. There's a lot of cards here. Definitely worth watching. Definitely a little bit unfortunate that it's ending the same weekend as the Dallas show.
Right. People are like begging me to rant. They're like, I've been watching you for an hour and a half waiting for a rant. You're just gonna leave it on the floor?
I mean, do you want to rant? I don't know.
Not really. I was just like, I'm so sick of the same garbage being posted over and over and over from selfish people. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I feel like I'm the jerk that's like getting angry at everybody sometimes.
Yeah, dude. Well, let me put it in these terms. I fear posting any card too frequently or being too friendly with it or getting too excited about it. Oh, this is such a great card. Because I don't want that card to be tarnished with my scent and my name and just stupid me. I don't want to ruin the card. I'm happy to own the card. The card is much bigger and greater than me. So I just try to get out of the way of the card and just be happy to own it. And I fear the possibility that me owning a card and posting it over and over and over again and hyping it over and over again in comments, etc., would, stain the card with my stupid brand. So I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, and so a few people messaged me like, what's wrong with people showing off their cards? That is not at all what I'm talking about. I mean, I hope it's obvious that I'm talking about just like I'm only talking about the extreme cases where it's like, dude, you've posted that card like 50 times now. Come on, like we get it. It's awesome. We love that you have it and you're excited, but like maybe chill out a little bit. And just put like Trae Young's the best player in the league after one game type stuff. It's just like, God, you just really want everyone to hate you right now.
Okay, look, we just solved the dilemma here.
Oreo.
You can be Wash can do the rants.
Here.
Right?
I'll just go for the country club bro, and I'll just be like, yo guys, listen up. All you motherfuckers out there, I'm gonna tell you what's up.
That was a little too good.
I know.
Have you played that
Yeah,
character before?
I listen to a lot of rap music, man. What do you want?
That's right. Right.
Who is this guy? Got like the little, here's your mic. There we go.
Look, that's a great technique that now, we can call in Wash to comment on certain things that Josh, has already commented on.
Oh, dude, have you seen that? Colin Cowherd's like, if you wear your hat backwards, I can't take you seriously. Like, what? So now everybody that goes on a show puts their hat on backwards just to troll him.
I think about all the things I've said at times when I had a hat on backwards. I think Colin Cowherd's right on that one.
You're like, I sound ridiculous. I can't do this.
Yeah. And I look ridiculous. Okay. Pagbon84 said, did you see the Arena Design said they have been working on a card-related, quote, project?
I didn't see that.
# make cards great again.
They are my favorite, low-key, my favorite people in the hobby. They're just like so humble and down to earth, and they're not flashing everything they've done, and they're just like nice people that have just like the design and creativity of what they've brought to the hobby is their legacy. They don't have to remind us of their legacy over and over. It's just like it is what it is. It's design, it's art, and I think it's awesome.
So look, they're the definitive piece of content with Arena Design can be found on the Cardboard Chronicles YouTube channel. I've watched this interview 5 times, probably at least. Oops. Bring this back up.
That's the only one that I'll watch back because I don't like watching myself on video, but I do like that video because of Gene. It's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just so much cool stuff that happens in this video. So anyway, so for people who may be unfamiliar with Arena Design, that is a good place to start. Arena Design made a very cryptic post referring to new project in the works. That's all we know, guys. That's all we know.
I hope so, man. I just like anything that she designs or that duo designs, I would be excited about. Very nice people.
Dude, Lefko is killing me right now, dude. This guy's on fire.
Dude. This dude moved to Atlanta and all of a sudden he's just on fire.
He's just on fire. He's just warming up for getting back on TNT, I guess. I saw that clip of Shaq just throwing him that boom, just hitting him with that elbow. That was hilarious. All
This
right.
is how he. This is his like. Anchorman when he's like warming up his jaw muscles or whatever, like getting ready for the show. This is Adam's version of that. He's getting the jokes out. He's getting the creativity flowing out of him.
Oh yeah, no, he's been in training camp for a while because this dude is hitting on all cylinders.
Unique New York.
All right. So there, I don't know. We predicted Golden is going to end high, but nothing bold there. But it is interesting that everybody is in Dallas right now. Not everybody, but a lot of people are in Dallas spending a crap load of money right now. So
There's a lot of stuff that's sort of like hovering. I don't want to say low because everything's expensive, but there's a lot of stuff that I know what it's going to end up ending at, and it seems like it's hovering a little bit low right now. Like some of the like super rare stuff that I know eventually like people are. I always feel that like this is interesting. See, tell me what you think about this. The really rare stuff that people actually want to win at auctions stay low until the very end, and the stuff that everyone wants to prove is like already expensive and there's tons of it is high early, right? People are shilling the shit out of it. But the stuff that's like, oh, I actually want that one. I better not bid. I actually want to win that, so I can't bid right now. I want to win it last minute. I want to try to get as cheap as possible. That's the stuff that we're going to see pop off the last second.
that's great advice. I cannot agree with that anymore. People if you just looked at a PWCC auction or a Golden auction or a Heritage auction through that lens, you would learn a ton. That's a great point. That's a jewel of the night right there.
There's like a Penny Hardaway gold, 24 karat gold card that I've always wanted to try to get my hands on. And there was an auction. Remember, it was like when we used to do the PWCC.
I remember.
And it was at like $1,000. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna win this for like $1,200. I'm such a genius. Oh my god. It went for like $5,000 in the last 5 seconds. Like, oh my god.
Oh, I remember that.
The Jordan Fleer PSA 10 is already at $300K. How did that happen? Oh, because people that own it want to withhold the value and they keep the value up right away. They put in their bids early just to get it to where it needs to be, and then they can rest. But the stuff that people actually want to win,
yeah.
Dude, me too. If I actually want a card, I'm never bidding until the last 30 seconds. Last 5 seconds, dude.
Yeah, that thing is getting sniped. So we're reacting to a comment from Papa Pete 888 who said never understood bidding before the last 30 seconds.
Me neither, dude. Everything before that is just a chance for you to get it on your watch list.
which there is something to. I will place a low bid if an item's low. If it's like $5, I'll put 10 on there so that I get the 5-minute warning as well as the 15-minute warning.
That is still not enough time because when I'm on my phone, I get the 15-minute warning. Like, great, 15 minutes. Like, wake me up when I've finished 50 other tasks today. Watch 10 YouTube videos and like 17 Instagram stories. Then I'm finally ready to bid. They need like a 1-minute notification and a 30-second notification because I just have no attention span to be able to sit there for 15 minutes or 5 minutes and wait.
Totally, dude. Totally. Yeah. I need a 60-second notice. I need that. What am I supposed to do? Just put my phone here and not do anything?
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Dude, I've lost a lot of auctions that way where I'm like, and I check it after, and I'm like, oh god, it ended. And I look and it's less than what I was gonna bid.
You know what would be a great study? Do some surveys, collect some information from eBay bidders, and give eBay a report. This is how much money you lose every year because people don't bid because the time alerts are too damn long.
And I'm like, I know how tech works, and I know that eBay like can't add these features that we're talking about easily just because of how long the company's been around, how bloated their code base is, how just like it's like moving a Titanic ship. 1 inch is a new feature, and it's just like a laborious task to get them to change things, which is why I love Card Ladder so much because it's just me doing changes quickly and the way I want to do it. But eBay is just like this giant code that like takes forever to change. Like adding something like that is just, oh my gosh, that's going to take us 2 years.
Right. So maybe they've been working on it. The idea came to them 5 years ago, and it will be. It will be.
He's on fire tonight.
He's killing it today. He's got the references are just off the chain. All right,
Cheers.
so Cardboard Cooper, do we trust PWCC, Heritage, or Golden aren't manipulating auctions? Excellent question. I think you have the right mindset. I think we all should be skeptical of all auctions. What's that movie, the Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems, where even in the most transparent auction setting, in person, people raising hands to bid, even there, he literally rigged his own auction. So just, and he had to end up buying it anyway because his shilling didn't work out properly.
What a great movie.
Oh, I love that movie. Christina
Movie.
that movie almost gave her a panic attack.
The first time ever I've had a panic attack, and it was during that movie. I literally had to run out of the room, and
Yeah, it's very anxiety inducing, that's
Yeah.
for sure. You're like, oh my God, just have one thing go your way, God damn it.
yeah.
So just be skeptical of any and all auctions, any and all transactions, but be rather than giving this as advice, I'll tell my point of view. But I also have to understand that this market operates based on comps, and right now in Dallas there are people paying amounts of money that are strongly influenced based on auction endings that have happened over the last few months. So real money trades real hands at real values based on what the data shows. So at Card Ladder, we try to at least filter out the obvious shill situations, and we just do a modicum of homework, which is more than most. So, for example, a 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron Refractor BGS 10 was indicated as a best offer accepted at $300,000 on eBay. The predicted value on that card was 180, so that's a huge red flag. So I went and I just messaged the seller, and I said, "Hey, congratulations on this sale, but would you please let me know if it got paid?" And he said it got canceled immediately. And that's hardly the only instance of that. So look, so that sale doesn't come into our database. We're not perfect about this, far from it, but we at least put a modicum of effort into it. There's nothing preventing you from reaching out to sellers, and you don't even need to trust the sellers either, but maybe you shouldn't in all instances. But it's a very delicate balance, weighing real data that influences how real money gets spent on real transactions versus manipulation, and the two overlap.
One other piece of advice, which is super obvious and everyone's thinking it: don't pay more than you're comfortable paying. I know that's a shitty way of pushing off the blame on some of the auction sites for if that was happening. That's just like a shitty way to take blame away from someone where there should be blame, if it's there, if it's actually warranted. But you can only control what you can control as an individual, and I know that right now some of these prices I'm seeing on some of this LeBron's rookie stuff, I love LeBron more than anyone. I just don't feel comfortable buying at these prices on a lot of this stuff, like a really vast majority of it. So I just kind of completely shift away and try to find different LeBron stuff that nobody else is looking at. And, it's so oddball that nobody will probably ever collect it, and that's fine with me. I don't feel comfortable paying these prices. And it's I'm not going to go risk my future, financial situation just because I'm trying to flex on winning auctions at these prices. Because I think, a lot of it is I'm one of the guys that paid, $40,000 for this base rookie card, and it's I get what you're, but I don't feel comfortable doing it. And if you don't feel comfortable and you feel anxious, maxing out your credit cards and stuff, it's okay, well, don't do that. Let's be safe here.
Yeah, great. So many great points there, especially the last one about credit. That's just a different topic for a different day, though. We're already deep into a different vibe here.
When did $10,000 become not a lot of money in this hobby? It's just if you just step back for a second, $10,000 is a lot of money to a lot of people. So just think about that. If you're spending $10,000 on something, it better be memorable. It better really influence your life, and it better do something really amazing for you. Because if not, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. So, in GMI Flips, great guy, said, how many content creators posted that sale, though? He's talking about the 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron Refractor BGS 10. Many did. And it's an especially deceptive sale because you can go to the Great 130 Point, amazing site. You can go to that site and it will tell you, oh, a best offer was accepted of 300. So already it feels a little more legitimate because you know that there was an offer that was not the list price. So it's like, oh, okay, I've done my fact checking. You could go on to eBay's data tool Terapeak and you will see the same thing, that it was 300K. It was not the list price at 350. So it just feels a little more legitimate just because you looked it up. But it's not. It's not. Anytime a sale of that magnitude happens with a private seller, not an auction house, but a private seller, it warrants messaging the seller. You can do this in your individual capacity. I do it all the time. And I reached out and I asked the seller, and the seller quickly replied and said, look, no, it didn't sell at that price. And I'm thinking about taking a different private offer that I got on it. So understandably, he didn't relist it. So the card doesn't get relisted. It just sits in the sold and completed. And yeah, lots of content creators posted that sale. People with tens of thousands of followers in some instances were posting that sale.
You know why though? Because they have cards that relate to that one, and they feel that, oh, if that one doubled in value, then my stuff doubled in value.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let me jump in and say that, like, something doubling in value isn't necessarily good news for you, because, like, yes, it can double in value, but then it just means that, like, it's going to correct harder back the other way, and it's just not as sustainable long term. Like, I wish people would celebrate a 10% gain as much as they do. This triple, I don't know, maybe, this is just me kind of ranting, but, like, I like the long term slow build of things more than I do these, like, triple, like, 3x my money, because then if you try to sell it, you're going to get a return, and it's just like, I don't know if that's even that good in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable here.
It's true. 10K is not a lot of money to certain people coming in.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this on tonight's Sports Cards Culture episode on the Card Ladder YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of people who have a lot of money in the form of equity in their PC. So, yeah, let's go. So, like, there's a lot of people who have a lot of money on paper.
Yeah.
So, like, those are people who move money around within the ecosystem of the hobby. But the ecosystem of the hobby is super interesting. The ecosystem grows when money that was not in cards comes in and gets put into cards. It grows. The ecosystem remains neutral when money that was already in cards exchanges and cards get traded. There's nothing added. There's nothing lost. Money leaves the ecosystem when somebody sells a card and then puts that money into something other than another card, maybe a house or something like that. So the hobby ecosystem is extremely interesting, how it works like that, and how, you always just kind of want to think about the macro the macro implications of people for whom $10,000 is not a lot of money. It's a lot of money for anybody, but people for whom it's not a big percentage as it is for some of the rest of us. Think about what it means when they are continually sprinkling the ecosystem with more money.
Interesting, because I sort of thought of it in terms of, like, people in the hobby are using their equity to, like, continuously buy these super expensive cards because their cards have appreciated so much that they're afforded that ability. But you really simplified it down for me to think that's only possible because new money is actually in reality coming into the hobby, and that's more true every day, that prices keep going up across the board, and there's just like lots of new money coming in. There's just a fact based on that simple math.
It totally is. It definitely is. Card Porn asks, what did you think about BGS's response regarding the fake slabs issue? I highly doubt you saw this video, Josh.
No.
Yeah, there was an hour-long interview that Jeremy Murray did with the great Eric of formerly the Fat Packs podcast, now the host of Beckett Live Media on YouTube. And they dug into, with more depth, the counterfeit BGS slabs issue. I just recommend people to go watch it. I was slightly underwhelmed. I would have liked a much more robust response. But it was a very hedging, it's just a big hedge. It kind of felt like that's not fair, but they did say about 30 minutes into the video, they said they're going to implement security features similar to what PSA did. They used PSA as an example. That's good. But, they also were concerned that, they didn't want to have everybody needing to reslab their cards. They were concerned about that. They also said, though, anybody who's concerned about the legitimacy of their BGS slab should send it in and get it verified by BGS. So, I don't know. Go watch it. I don't even know if it can be found via search, but I do have a link to it. But do not message me for the link. I have a lot of unread messages. Just maybe Card Porn can share the link. Or I bet if you went to Card Porn's page, you could get what you need to know.
I did not watch it.
Yeah.
I guess I will.
It was underwhelming.
I feel like it's going to be the same as the Robinhood CEO, just like completely dodging everything. Oh yeah, we had to, and the guy was like, "You didn't have to. There's no regulation that says you have to restrict buying of a." Well, I mean, we do. Okay, well, you don't, and like even Congress came out and said you don't. So totally unrelated, but I'm assuming based on what you're saying, the big heads of these companies just sort of try to save face and say whatever they say to dodge it.
Yeah. Okay. Drake's PC says increased regulation in the hobby, pros and cons. Since we're kind of on this topic of regulation anyway, do you have any reactions to this?
Pros, it legitimizes the market more, raises the floor on what we are as an industry quite a bit. You know what I mean by that? Like we're at a point now where it's like there's no turning back. We are like a legitimate market at this point. There's enough people involved that you can't fake this anymore. Cons, people are gonna have to start paying taxes. It's like hiring accountants, which we've talked about at length. Get an accountant. I have an accountant. I've started doing my Excel spreadsheets for 2020, and it's so boring, but it's a necessary evil. I spent a lot of money on cards in 2020. I will say that. I sold a lot, but I spent a lot more than I sold. Cons, I don't know. It's just kind of, I guess it's more of like the representation of what it is as a con. Like the fact that it's like less and less of a hobby, the more regulation it is, and less collecting and more the money and greed side of it. It just like is like a reminder that we have to have regulation because of all the money being made and the greed and the pump and dump, and it just kind of like a sad reminder that like this isn't a fun underground hobby anymore.
Yeah, I don't think the industry generates enough money. Where will the money come from to pay for the agency or the regulatory body to justify that thing existing? PSA, their financials were published not long ago, and Cardi C reviewed them in a great video on his YouTube channel. And it was disclosed that PSA had in total revenues $33.7 million in the year 2020. I just don't know that there's enough revenue in the sports card industry that would justify the type of expenditure that it would take to have a full-fledged regulatory body. Maybe there would just be an outpost established under a different regulatory body that would focus on this. But then how is that any different than the fact that the FBI and other agencies already monitor and respond to inquiries with respect to the sports card market? So
Yeah, that's like more legal talk than I ever wanted to hear, but yeah.
All right. Yeah. So let's go on here.
People are talking about Top Shot. Is that the next one?
Yeah, I was actually skipped over a number of Top Shot questions, but I'll read them now and acknowledge them. Midwest Vintage Cards says, in keeping with 90s sitcoms, parentheses, in extreme Seinfeld voice, what's the deal with Top Shot? Are they e-cards? How do you collect them? Why can't I just watch the same video on YouTube? Okay, that was one comment / question / 3 questions. Paulo Pratienza writes in, NBA Top Shot thoughts. Sham Card, great handle, says, what big card purchase? Oh, that's not on Top Shot anymore. Okay, so those were the 2 Top Shot questions I skipped over. We talked a lot about Top Shot. I've made a few. I've been all over spectrum on Top Shot. I've opened packs. Whoa, what happened? Where'd Josh go? Who's this? Okay, so let me just. All right, so my quick Top Shot thing that I got out of the way here is as long as we recognize that it's different than sports cards and that we don't think that it is interchangeable with sports cards because they are so fundamentally different on the certain important things that, like, to me, allows me to see them as 2 very different things, then hey, more power to it. And clearly it is booming because the number of sales that are going down that get reported are, I don't know, maybe more money is being spent on this than is being spent on sports cards over the last few weeks. So anyway, those are some thoughts. All right. I think Wash. Okay. Let's hear Wash on this.
I don't want to spend much time on this, so please, cut me off. It's 100% speculative. It is completely, you're just speculating on, hopefully I can make money. I have yet to talk to a single person who's like, dude, I love collecting this shit. I love owning them. It's fun. Everyone I've talked to is like, I'm hoping I can cash in and make money. Even one of the commenters here who brought it up was like, yeah, I bought a bunch. Like, please don't hate me. And I'm hoping to make money so that I can go buy cards with that money. Dude, a more true statement could not be spoken, where I'm trying to make money on this thing that's like really silly in perspective so that I can buy something I actually want. And that's the theme of the night for me. So I can consume this down into one simple thing. Collectibles are popular because people want to buy them. I butchered the thing because I'm trying to
you remixed it. Wash has a whole new saying here about collectibles. I like this.
The collectibles market is a market. The cards are valuable because people want to own them. And that's it. I don't know anyone that wants to own Top Shot clips. They want to make money on Top Shot clips. You see the difference? Someone that wants to make money on something versus someone that actually is interested in it and wants to remain with it because it's fun. It provides nostalgia. It has history. It's something you connect to over many years. All these different factors that have made sports cards a viable market. Top Shot is not that today. It may become that. It's very speculative. It is a gamble. If you do not wish to lose a lot of money, or if you can't withstand the risk of losing a lot of money, don't do it.
I don't think there's anything else left to say on that topic. And I do want to give a shout out. We have friends, good people who are involved with Hot Shot, and I do wish you guys all the best with it.
Top Shot.
What'd I say?
Hot Shot.
Oh, damn it. Top Shot.
It's been around so long. It's been around so long, you don't even know what they're called.
I keep confusing it with that Facebook group.
Get off my lawn, bro. We're get off my lawn boys now. Come on.
We're big time grumps. But we are not Blowout. Okay, let me draw that line right now. I went on Blowout about a week ago. we are not that. I was really feeling like real Clint Eastwood vibes, that movie. No. Blowout.
It's a landmine of just disgusting. It's bad. I used to go on Blowout all the time, and I used to post my monthly mail day recaps, and I just had a blast going on there and
You were a legend.
talking cards. Every single thread that I went on was like, who's the next prospect to hype? It was just like a total hype thread, and then people jumping on, being sarcastic and shitting on. Oh my god, it was just weird.
100%, dude. All right.
Hold the deadline. Like Lord of the Rings in here. We gotta hold the line. Dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Did someone pay $100,000 yet? I heard that like their limit on the marketplace was $100,000, so like people were waiting for the first $100,000 purchase. I think maybe someone said it happened tonight. Isn't? Oh, dude, card porn is on the point. You see that?
Oh no, card porn is eerily thorough. Eerily.
There's gotta be some like wisdom in meeting people through, weird avenues that like you disagree on something or whatever.
Yes, I definitely think that's right. Already a few 100Ks. Yeah, I mean, I thought a clip of Zion blocking a shot sold for $100,000 that was numbered 1 out of 50.
You can't even hide your disgust just in how you describe it. You're like, I'm just blocking an average shot.
What do I know, dude? But I do know that if I wanted to get involved in collecting Zion, a gold Prism 9.5 of his sold for roughly that price a few months ago at auction. So,
really,
yes.
A gold Prism 9.5 out of 10 versus a YouTube clip of a block.
Yeah. Yes. Here, let me.
I'm not like a genius at comparing value. I'm not like a stock market wizard, but that seems wrong.
Well, look, very cool card. Tough to find. You got to be really patient. Got to be really patient and wait for one of those guys to emerge. It sold twice. It has sold twice in the history of the internets. And this is the sale I was referring to.
Undervalued, bro. Undervalued.
Where do they put the price? Where the hell is the price?
Is this Leland?
This is Leland. Oh, there we go. Sold for $118K, roughly.
Underpriced, going to the moon. Moonshot. That's doubling in value tomorrow.
So actually, that is not underpriced. That's overpriced, according to this stupid website. That item is seriously overpriced. If we trust that the Prism Silver PSA 10 is a reliable proxy for its value, in this case, it probably is.
Internet is one of my favorite phrases to just pluralize internet. It's just hilarious. A goods only. One of the
Did it again.
Stop doing that.
Are you back?
Are you bound? I am. I'm here.
Okay.
A goods only. One of the beta testers of the mobile app. What are you doing?
I'm here. Why is this freezing? Is this me? Are we freezing? Who's freezing?
It keeps like going into like. So let's just start hour 3. Just kill this and start hour 3.
All right, guys, come back. 30 seconds. Hour 3 commencing. Welcome back. The third and final hour of the crossover has commenced. Let's see if we can send a request to Josh or Wash. I realize that wash sounds like wash, like what you do to clothes. And so I just wonder, somebody overhearing this without knowing the context, think about that. These things bother me. What's up, Chrissy Buckets? It's either Cardboard Chronicles or Wardboard Wanicles, depending upon what we're talking about here.
I had to go to the bathroom again, so I'm ready.
Okay, Josh or Wash is completely ready to go here. All right.
Woj is the hobby. Reporting here first. Woj is the best. Dude's always got the...
Woj is the GOAT.
Dude. So good.
It's good to have a reliable source.
It is.
That's something I think about with the hobby. Reliable sources and how important that is, and how little commentary, such as Vegas Dave's commentary. A lot of people message me to tell me that one of the things they didn't like about his commentary, it wasn't the bottom line. It was the fact that he didn't have any analysis or depth or substance to accompany the observation. It was simply, cards, subprime mortgage, same thing, suckers. Now enter my giveaway by commenting.
The subprime mortgage is like a very emotional statement. That's why he said it. Because when you say subprime mortgage, you're really hitting at the emotions of people. Like, oh, that was just a painful time. And it's just like the last thing we remember about markets crashing. It's like synonymous with the last time the markets have crashed. So it's just like a primal, emotional, reaction-inducing phrase. He doesn't actually relate the two, right? It's just what you say to get people to pay attention.
Yes, and no substance, no reasoning. So even I saw Mark Cuban made comments to the effect of when interest rates go back up, this might negatively impact alternative assets, and he even name dropped sports cards on the thinking that people are going into alternative assets right now because interest rates are non-existent, and when that changes, then suddenly there's competing ways to spend your money and get returns on it. I don't think Mark Cuban is well versed on the types of returns that certain cards have been getting lately, but that's, at least now we can discuss it. At least now we can reply, and I can say, oh, here's your analysis, but here's where I might disagree. But for VD, Vegas Dave, there was no analysis or substance to it at all. It was just a bottom line. So I think people would have appreciated a bottom line. And
the thing that
venereal disease.
no, that's how we shorthand it.
it's a very unfortunate acronym. We'll just leave that on the floor there. But again, like for the 80th time, like the thing that you cannot measure is that no matter what markets or interest rates or prices or whatever, like people just want to own. It's a collectible. Like people just are not understanding that these are like collectible items. They are a luxury. They are not a necessity. This is not water. This is not housing. This is not transportation. It is a luxury that people enjoy, and they want to own these items in their collections, and they want to have them as a part of their lives, so they spend their discretional income on them. That's it. We're just way overthinking this, dude. It's not a fucking 401k. It's not a house loan mortgage. It's none of that stuff. It's not a freaking subprime. It's not. It's a sports card. Okay, you're just way overthinking this stuff.
13 Publius, I agree, takes me back to the good old days of being a law student, and conclusory statements do not reach one of the levels of pretrial civil litigation, or oh my god, civil procedure. I don't remember what class it was, but I know that conclusory statements are bad. They will get dismissed before evidence can be collected.
What does that mean?
A conclusory statement is a bad thing. It means it's not supported by evidence. It's just a conclusion. And
you're just saying things.
Yes. I also, because Vegas Dave was the seller of the all-time high sports card for a while at public auction, the Superfractor Trout, perhaps we could call him STD, Superfractor Trout Dave. if VD doesn't work. So
STD.
we can go with either of those.
Like,
Any of those.
also, we didn't point out that in his post, he literally like shit on the guy that bought the card from him.
Yeah, now that's not classy.
That is not classy. I'm classy. Jim would not approve of that.
That's just not classy. That's not how you want to treat the new person who's been entrusted with that card. I also want to send a special acknowledgement to Ty of the Great Bullpen LA.
Hi,
Voir dire Dave. Okay.
We have the best.
Getting deep
We have the
in.
best. We have the most interactive, the best chat on Instagram. I don't even care about other. All the acronyms are just going bananas right now.
Yeah. Well, you respect the chat, and the chat respects you. I think
That's right.
I think
That is right. Vegas and classy.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm always hesitant to move on from a topic because sometimes a great comment comes in like 20 seconds later, and I regret that I
Yeah.
moved
I'm waiting to see who's the next comment goat right now. I'm just like,
Lefko was the comment go devoured 1 and 2.
he's getting tired though. He's on the East Coast. He's in Atlanta right now. That dude is tired.
He's wearing down. He's wearing
Hamlin, yo, you need to watch. What's the Breaking Bad sequel?
Damn, I can't think of it right now. I
Someone
did watch the first
yeah.
episode of it. What's that? Huh? Better Call
Better
Saul.
Call. You do need to watch that, Chris. It's all about law. It's really good.
Yeah.
The guy's named after you.
Yeah, the guy has my name too, but he changes it because it's a shitty name, I think.
No. Don't just start throwing out accusations about him changing the name because he doesn't like the last name. No, sir.
Well, I don't know. I haven't watched it. Just what I've heard. That's a joke.
You find out the origins of why he starts calling himself Saul Goodman. So just watch the show.
All right.
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Oh, I love Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I watched it live too. So yeah, there was no binging on that one. That was real anticipation, like football weeks.
Is that the best drama ever made? Best drama series?
No, but it's up there.
Well, okay. Well, smart guy. Let's hear it.
It's a little bit unfair because I would have said Sopranos, but I actually rewatched Sopranos a year or two ago, and it didn't hold up quite as well as I would have liked it to.
I've never seen that show.
Okay. The Wire. Absolutely loved it the first time I watched it, but I fear that that's not going to hold up quite as well either, although I might be wrong about that. Huge fan of Boardwalk Empire.
I haven't seen any of these.
Boardwalk Empire is right up my alley, but
you're an intellectual drama. I like this. You're like picking the really good like intellectual one.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, have you seen what's the one with Matthew McConaughey and on HBO? It's like a detective show.
True Detective. That was
dude. Okay.
It was okay.
What?
Maybe I
that was
need
the
to rewatch
best.
it.
The season 1, so good.
Yeah. Maybe I need to rewatch that.
Breaking Bad is my favorite drama of all time. I've seen that like 4 or 5 times through. It's so good.
Yeah, well, that's when you know it's great. I have watched Frasier that many times through. Somebody was grateful as well that I didn't spoil Frasier. They put a comment on YouTube that said, "Thank you for not spoiling Frasier, LOL." I think that means that they're grateful. Ozark. Yeah, Ozark is good, but it's not as good as Breaking Bad, though. But it is good.
Detective season 1 is the GOAT. Thank you, Card Gems. That season, I've seen True Detective season 1 like 4 times. It's so good. Ozark is good. I like Dexter. It's Dexter's good. It's entertaining. It's just like the acting isn't quite as good as some of these other shows we're talking about. It's good. I like it. It's just like there's a lot of plot holes in Dexter. There's like you can watch YouTube of like all the mistakes they make. They make a lot of mistakes. And
Yo, this dude whipped out a top 5 list. Like he had that ready.
Rick and Morty. I don't like Rick and Morty. I tried it. I don't like it.
I think he's joking.
No, he's
I
not.
know. Dude, Rick and Morty has like a really strong fan base.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
People want to know about your marital status, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know who CH Ristina is.
I don't know, but I'm a fucking killer.
Mindhunter is so good. Dude, Westworld is really good, but it's like way too complicated. At a certain point, I'm like, what? This is like meta on meta. Come on.
Yeah, I would agree
Right?
with that.
Have you seen season 2 of Westworld is the most confusing thing I've ever seen in my life, and I love those deep shows, but I was like, what is happening?
I agree. I definitely
The
agree.
robots are like robots in robot. I'm like, I don't even what? You're just messing with me now. You're just trying to.
Yep, I agree. So Breaking Bad is your number one then,
All time best drama.
and then number two is Tuesday and Thursday night TNT basketball.
Queen's Gambit was really good. Thanks, Carmen. That was so good. Succession. That is like one of my favorites. Have you seen Succession? You'd like that.
I have not. Let me write this down.
That's an HBO show about a father who owns a business, and he's like trying to figure out which of his children to give the show to give the business to. And it's really good.
What was the show with the guy named Neil McCaffrey, who was an art thief, but who then went and worked for the FBI, and it was
White Collar.
White Collar. It's not great, but it's watchable.
It's a USA show.
It's watchable. I wrote down Succession. I'll check out Succession.
You know how there's all these shows that like people are like, you have like, oh Chris, like stop what you're doing. I don't even care what you're doing this weekend. Like you just have to watch this show. There's like so many. Everyone has that show, you know.
Yes. I guess this is it. But then Christina and I have watched The Mentalist probably 4 to 5 times through.
Wait, let me guess. You like CSI?
No. I do not like CSI. I generally don't like any procedurals, but The
Law and
Mentalist,
Order?
no. Too boring.
I
Blue
guess.
Bloods is okay.
Those are like surface level like detective shows that are.
Yeah, they are.
It's
Yes,
just
thank you.
it's so unrealistic that like, oh, magically every hour they solve the crime. It's like
Right.
break.
Plus, the like CSI Miami has like the best memes of all time with what's his name? Or I'm gonna totally mess this up, but he's like, it's got the yow intro. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
And it's got all the memes of the guy.
CSI Miami,
Yeah,
and
with
he like
David something.
David Caruso,
David Cruz.
and he like says those like corny lines
Yeah.
over the dead body, and then like takes off his glasses, like his
Yeah,
Yeah,
sunglasses.
they'll be like, oh, they found semen at the crime scene. They'll be like, he heard the victim coming. And he takes his glasses off, and then it's like, yow! Or wow.
That's good.
He heard the victim coming. Like, oh my god, I'm turning this show off right now. It's so bad. CSI The Hobby. Coming.
Dude, for real though. For real though.
Dude, Ozark is so. You've seen Ozark. You're watching that one, right? Oh,
Did they
it's so
just
good.
come? Was the new season out?
Oh god, I wish. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I
I've
wish,
seen all
man.
the seasons so far.
So good. And it's crazy because, like, you know, he's obviously a comedy actor generally, but he's so good in that.
Yep. Yes, that guy is great. Bateman.
Yow! It's like the speedboat on Miami, like, yow!
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. That's how we all know that show, whether we want to admit it or not.
Someone in the chat said psych, and I'm so happy that they did.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, look! Someone in the chat said it looks like it was you.
No, it was Papa Pete 888.
Okay. Papa Pete's
All
got
right.
the heat tonight.
Do you have any sports card topics? Or...
I never know how long to let these topics linger. Yeah, here's one that you'll love.
All right.
Will the price ratio of PSA 9 to 10 stay the same? If not, what is the best guess for how it moves?
God,
the
dude,
future. Would you like to talk about the price ratio?
I hate you so much. Uh, I don't even need to. Here, watch. Here, ready? This is how I feel about that topic. I go Beastie Boys on you, man. God, I couldn't care less about that topic. I think, you know what? Here's what I think. BGS 9.5s are the most undervalued.
Boom. So undervalued if you compare the ratio.
Ratios, bro. I think
There.
people, dude, I mean, those graphs that I was poking through earlier tonight, when I was like hitting one card at a time, those were all like PSA 9s and 8s of like vintage cards, 80s and vintage 80s and 90s PSA 9s and under are just like just blowing up.
We did get a question like this, Chrissy.
$2 million.
Over under 1.5 years, 86 Fleer Jordan PSA 10 to $2 million.
You know what I love to do? I love to speak things into existence.
Yeah, so JP Sneaker Card Collector had a question on this topic too. He said, short-term peak of 86 Fleer Jordan PSA 10. There's no answer, but please guess.
I want to talk about what DGen Polls just said.
Let me see.
Holding you and I talked about this earlier, elephant brain, holding people accountable to things they said in the past.
I think that
bro,
is excellent practice.
The best preseason investment you could possibly make is Trae Young. Those people that listen to that are getting crushed, and we're just moving on. Like, just forget that happened.
Yeah, that is real, dude.
He's not even playing bad. It's not even Trae Young's fault. It's just that like people have moved on from prospects because that's what happens.
Because that's what happens. Because the Hawks look good. They look better and better. DeAndre Hunter looks like a very, very great complementary player. They've got a lot of pieces. I don't know how. I don't think you could say that Trae has in any way, shape, or form fallen short of expectations.
No, he's exceeded this year, for me at least. He's playing great. But his prices are going down because it wasn't realistic and because people pumped it too much in the preseason, which happens every year. And then people claim that it's like the best for your collection. They try to turn the phrase to try to increase the value by trying to like piggyback on the term collection. And then eventually that stuff starts to die down because there's too much of it, too much hype. It doesn't make sense. And it falls every year. Yeah, it's just like, dude. I've said this a million times. I don't hate Trae Young. I think he's a nice kid, great player. The problem is his prices are way overinflated because of hype and people trying to make it a thing. That's what makes me upset. I don't dislike Trae Young as a person.
No, totally. So Trae Young had a weird boom at the end of November, came down again right before the season. And as the season started, it came down. Then there was a very unnatural-looking spike, peaking at 3,800 in the early goings of the season. And now the card is down to 2,225. Like, the card hasn't been this cheap since early November. It's absolutely taken a hit. So, yeah, bear in mind when take notes of people who said that this was, a good investment or whatever. Well, from the vantage point of right now, you could have gotten a whole bunch of those silvers for $2,000.
Those guys that say that stuff can always manipulate what they say. They can say like, "Well, I told you to buy at that dip, and if you would have sold clearly at the peak, you would have made money." But the reality is that like, people hear that advice and they buy it and they hold it long term, and eventually they just sort of end up losing money. And so, you can't just like. That's why that's the heart of like why trying to pass off advice on who to buy and what to buy is never going to work, because you're never going to be able to corral everyone that you're giving the advice to buy at the perfect time and sell at the perfect time. It's impossible. People are just going to kind of make their own rules based off of what you say on when to buy and when to sell, and it's never going to work out perfectly for everyone. So you're just always going to lose. You're always going to piss off someone, someone's always gonna win. It's just like it's never just gonna work out. So just like stop doing it.
Yeah. And it's very hard to give quote unquote bad investment advice in a market that's absolutely been exploding and continues to explode because everything is going up. But some people find ways to do it. And here we have an example of a card that has gone down, and it has nothing, and the player is playing very well.
If you would have told someone a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago to just go and like buy cards of their favorite players, they probably would have made a lot of money. And that's all you would have had to say. You wouldn't have to preface it with, go buy this Prism Silver card of this player because I have it, or go buy this Mahomes card because that's what I'm loaded up on. All you would have had to say is like, go enter the hobby and find, like, do you have some sort of connection to sports cards in the past? Did you collect them as a kid? Cool. What did you like? I liked X. Cool. I think you might really enjoy buying this player because he's similar to that guy, or you could still buy cards of that player because his 90s cards are still a thing, or go buy galactic cards because you used to like 90s shiny cards, or go buy Prism Silvers because you used to like Chrome. Like you just try to like relate to the person you're trying to make understand the hobby, and like send them. This is what I said on my story this week. The long-term sustainability of the hobby is helping and educating new entrants into the hobby with what they like, what they're passionate about. There's not some like generic blueprint of what everyone in the hobby is going to like, right? It's different for everybody. So like try to help individuals find what they like about the hobby.
Totally agree.
Like, dude, you like McCaffrey and Luka. There's probably not that many people that like those two things together.
Yep.
So it's like there's no like generic YouTube advice that's going to help you figure out how to navigate those two things.
No, definitely not. The hobby's so much better when you take control of it and do it the way you like to do it, and do it for the reason of having fun and being creative and building a collection. Building a collection itself is a creative act.
So the other side to this coin, though, that we have to be aware of is that it's really easy for me to be like, oh, just collect what you like. It's a really easy like phrase for me to spit out. How do you help someone collect what they like, but also not like jeopardize their financial future?
Well, the other generic, fortune cookie wrapper advice that we can give, like in the fortune cookies of the hobby, I might open one and it would say collect what you like. I might open another one and it would say only spend what you're comfortable spending.
Right.
Don't go beyond your means. Like, this stuff is all just like common sense stuff
We've said over and over tonight.
It rings true. It rings true, but and people do want to get involved in the hobby and make a choice and pick a good player or whatever. I don't know, man. There is no substitute for a person just doing research, taking the time to do it right. That gets you so far in the hobby because so many people don't do it. It's not a high bar. Yep. Do your research. That's another fortune cookie quote from the hobby, to be sure. And Josh, I like your point. I do want to see if there's a way we can say something a little more substantive than just the old cliches that ring true, but we've all heard them a lot. Does it really address the practical person who's like, yeah, I want to come into cards. Okay, I'm going to do my research, but where do I start? And I'm not going to spend beyond my means, but what can I get for $300 or less if that's my monthly budget on cards, stuff like that.
Sure. I just think back to like all the things that I've done, not just like in cards, but in general, that have been successful. All of the common thread to all the things that I've done that were successful were the effort and time that I put into them. And it's just like you just can't like teach someone. You just can't like you can't give like these little cliches, and you can't give fortune cookie advice on like hard work, because it's just like it's gross, it's boring, it's like really boring work is what really ends up being the thing in the end. And sometimes that work is research, sometimes it's like a monotonous task that you don't want to do, Chris. When I give you a task to fill out a Word doc for our company, like it's always something, right? It's always some boring task. Like, oh, go add these 700 things tonight, Chris. I need you to do it. And you just do it, right? You just spend the time, and it's like it's an hour. Nobody's watching you do it. Nobody cares that you did it. It will never be written in a book one day. It's just like the boring task that you had to do that day. But you know that in the long run it's going to pay off.
That's dude. Yeah, you're right, dude. You're right. And then a little pain is good. I don't know how I make that true. Suffering builds character. I don't know. Something like that. How about this as a fortune cookie phrase? If you see a pump, you're likely buying the dump.
Dude, that's a good one. It's true. It's like yeah, if you are buying something after you've heard about it, it's too late, kind of thing, right?
Totally.
Never be upset with. There's so many good cliches that like I've said a million times that, you know how I always like to do the opposite of what the popular thing is? Like I feel like I've said it so many times internally myself that even I'm like hedging against myself. Okay. Enough of the cliches. It's time to go buy some Trae Young prisms, bro.
Josh is looking at Trae Young's right now on the side. That's when you're just zagging so hard. You're zagging against your own zag.
Isn't that true though? Like I feel like, you know, even I'm questioning myself sometimes. Like, all right, come on, Mr. Cliche, work hard guy. Fucking give me some substance, bro.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Buy wisely.
Buy wisely. That's why I always liked Gary V. Like I know that he's kind of a hot topic in the hobby because of his hot takes, and he's, you know, potentially moving markets based on what he's tweeting and stuff. But like he's always been rooted in hard work, and I just feel like that's always the common thread.
I agree. Totally agree.
Grocery baggers, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that in hour one. Signs of the public mania. That would definitely be one.
4 Facebook posts in a row is the sign from group posts that you're following.
That's when we panic. Vic, are you at the show,
He
man?
is.
Okay.
He is. He was the one that was messaging me earlier tonight of like, dude, literally, if it has LeBron, Kobe, or Jordan on the front of the piece of cardboard, people are buying it. They don't care what it costs.
Yeah. Man, who would have saw that coming?
I feel like we talked about that at length 2 months ago. Like, there's a window here, guys. Everyone's buying Trae Young and not Marvin Bagley. Like, give me some other names. Like, total like raw
Zion,
prospect.
Morant, Luka, Trae.
You should probably not do that and like buy Jordan and LeBron instead. And now that stuff is just going fucking crazy.
Yeah, and it makes things a little more complex because the normal seasonal shifts that would cause a depreciation in prospects do not apply to Jordan, Kobe, and only apply a little bit to LeBron because that legacy is so cemented. So the herd got smarter, and they have flocked towards iconic cards.
Yep.
And I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. That all indicators point in that direction.
Like no market is impervious to 10x up and 8x down. Like it's just gonna happen. But it's gonna be funny because like I'm gonna show you the graph. You're gonna in a year from now you're gonna see that little blip of 2021 January ridiculous spike back down to the norm, and it's just gonna be steady as she goes.
hard to argue with that.
I just showed you on Tiger Woods. I got to show you. I'm going to show you a month from now. We're going to be joking about this because in a month from now, I'm going to show you up, down, 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 up, back to normal. Here we go. Steady as she goes. LeBron and Jordan and Kobe, back to normal. Just forget what you just saw.
Another hill in the BMX park.
Just like, this is the most simple advice ever. Don't buy something that just 5x'd. If you do that, you'll probably be okay.
Safe advice. Shout out to Card Talk Pod in the podcast. Not sure who of the great hosts and producers is behind the account right now. Or maybe it's all of them huddled together to catch hour 3. But I just want to shout out to you guys.
Hopefully it's my favorite of the 3.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for as well.
I hope for that person of the 3.
I
bet it's that guy. Hey, it's not the Eiffel Tower anymore. It's the middle finger, right? That's the new joke.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
I like how the vernacular of what it is just based on what Lamine posts that week. Like that's the new term that we all ship to.
Lamine
Jay,
sets the narrative.
producer.
Lamine is a powerful person.
Jay, the producer, get me on that show, man. I've been asking to be on Card Talk Pod, and I have been ignored. So let's get me and Chris on there.
Yeah, you guys, you need to have Josh. Don't worry about me.
You've been on there, right?
I've been on there once before in the early goings. And I think now the show is huge. Now it has a fitting sized audience for Josh or Wash, depending upon who they'd like to invite on.
Well, if he wants a bunch of cliches, I'm your guy.
You'll bring your hobby fortune cookies.
Yeah, you're gonna zag, you're gonna, collect what you like, you're gonna buy at the bottom and sell at the peak. It's just gonna be great.
Totally. Yeah. Lefko kept going with, I want the fortune cookies to keep on coming. I see these non-sports cards becoming the next big boom.
I like how every time Gary points out a new niche in the hobby that he thinks is a niche, but just the simple fact of him pointing it out makes it no longer a niche, and everyone goes and buys it and jacks up the price. He's like, "Oh wow, I didn't think Kaboom would be so expensive." Yeah, dude, you say the word Kaboom out of your mouth, and everyone's gonna go buy Kaboom cards. Imagine that.
I told you guys, Shaq beam teams were undervalued 10 times. And look,
doesn't he have 5 million followers? Simple math dictates that one post on something is gonna get the market to double.
Yeah, and I want to commend a lot of the choices. Shaq Beam Team is a great choice for my personal aesthetic. I've never owned the card. I have owned the Jordan, but I don't have it anymore. But I think that was a nice choice.
He's in a catch-22. He can't.
No,
he can't talk about what he likes.
If you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, which why wouldn't we? The benefit of the doubt is he's a guy who loves cards and just wants to share those cards that he loves. Who cannot relate to that? And among all the people who love cards and share them and how often they share them, he is on the humble side. You can go on Instagram and look at how many people share the cards that they love and compare it to how often he does it. And it's pretty tame.
One of my favorite things about the hobby is when new people come in and they say the cliche things that they think that they're supposed to be saying, and then like Lefko's doing, and then 6 months later they realize oh my god, I can't believe I said that. This is so ridiculous. I can't believe I thought that 6 months ago. You guys were laughing at me, and now I understand. World Cup Prism is the next thing. When the World Cup gets here, you guys are gonna be wishing you would have bought all this World Cup, and then 6 months later they're like, God, I can't believe I said that.
All right, so look, I have a funny quick story inspired by Card Porn's post. Can we talk about briefly how shill bidders are being caught on the regular and excised from the hobby at a rapid rate? Stop shill bidding on your shit. All right, so look, I have a story. A great drama unfolded in one of the Michael Jordan Facebook groups today. somebody had, I'm not going to use any people's names, but somebody posted a link to their own auction explaining how exciting it was, what a great card it was. This person is well known in the group, in the Michael Jordan Facebook group, based on other recent purchases that they had made and some other perhaps outlandish things that they had done. And so people started investigating the bid history on the card that this person had said was for auction. It was very exciting. And of course, it was their own card. They were promoting their own auction that was being sold through Probstein. And one of the commenters came in and said, hey, I'm looking at the bid history on this card, and the feedback score of the second highest bidder is the same feedback score as the person who won the last two auctions that you just showed as mail days. And then he digged a little further and he saw that, in fact, the user profiles for all of those three auctions were the same. In other words, the guy was shill bidding his own card, and he got caught in cold blood. Is that the phrase? He got caught red-handed.
Red-handed.
He got caught red-handed, okay? And so at first, his first reply, if I remember correctly, his first reply was like, he didn't address it. He was just like, well, let's see if this gets paid for. Because he goes, you'll look stupid if this gets paid for. But then the hits kept coming, and the evidence kept piling up and piling up. And he was removed from the group. And then somebody messaged him and asked him, what's up with this, bro? Your spot got blown up, dude. And he goes, dude, he's like, his reply was so funny. He goes, the one time I shill bid, I get caught. How messed up is this? And I just, it was.
Who was it? Fuck this dude. Who was it?
I don't know his name. He's a relatively new guy to the group.
That's amazing.
And the sports card scammers site on Instagram has this all documented, so you can go see it all. But here's the thing, guys: we've really got to look. Even people who commit heinous crimes often get second chances after being punished. But this isn't just like, oh, we just kill this guy or anything. But we need to not forget who and what was done, because, like, remember there was that guy. Remember Big Boy Movement called out the LeBron refractor shilling. Yeah. And like when we just saw it and we all were upset about it, and then we all just moved on. And I feel like somebody told me that kid, I guess, is still just out there buying and selling and moving trade cards. Nobody cares.
Wait, was it the SGC 10 card?
Yes.
Oh, I did see that. I was like,
Battle Universe.
he's like, guys, I think this card's gonna be $7,500, and it just happened to end at $7,500. Is that the one?
Yes, that's the one. He was the guy who was the second highest bidder, and he got found out.
Dude, I'm in the majority where I love watching people just get crushed by. It's like the internet will just figure this out. The internet will just destroy this guy it's like the modern day justice system where, like, oh, this dude got caught by the internet, you're just totally effed now.
I would really hope. So I like what Adam says here. He says, everyone in this hobby is anonymous. Acting in bad faith should require people to use their real names for everything, no hiding. And John Newman of Sports Card Nation, great podcast, great guy, explained to me that philosophy in the most articulate way I ever heard anybody explain it. And, like, ask him why he feels that way, because he feels very strongly that people should use their legitimate names when they're transacting and doing business. And I agree with that. I think a good rule of thumb is if somebody's not doing business under their real name, that's not it doesn't tip the balance completely, but it's a red flag. Yeah, it's something worth thinking about.
Yeah, if you you're not going to catch me and Chris do anything bad. Like, we are here. These are our names. These are our accounts. These are our cards. These are our companies that we own.
This is our life, literally.
This is my basement. These are the Christmas lights.
This is why we care so much about this. Everything. This hobby is everything for us. And
dude, look at Adam. I'm offended with the compliments. Like, this is my average.
He's like, I'm betting 300. I'm crushing it, guys. Why was nobody in the stands all these other times?
This is like telling Messi he had a good match. Hey, nice game. It's like, yeah, nice game, LeBron. He's like, yeah, no shit. It's like an average fucking game. I do this every night, bro. Like the that was one of my favorites though, when the Cavaliers executive pissed him off at the end of the third quarter. And I texted you when it happened. I was like, dude, that like on the sideline just pissed LeBron off. Did you see that? And I was like, this fourth quarter is about, and he had 21 points in the fourth.
He had six threes, I think, and didn't miss.
It was like, I don't know why that dude said that. Like, you're an idiot. LeBron's about to crush you.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And that's when the greats go to a next level.
It's just like, people talk about how like Jordan and Kobe, like they like literally made up stories about guys talking shit about. You've seen that one where there was like a guy in the Wizards or the Bullets back in the day who Jordan said that at halftime the guy said like, good game, MJ. And then he just like torched him in the second half. And then like years later, they're like, MJ, did he actually say that? And he's like, no, I made it up. And he's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? You're making up stuff to motivate yourself now? Are you crazy?
Yeah, no, it's people got to get fired up somehow. Yeah, dude, LeBradford Smith, Mike.
Yes, thank you. That was the best, dude. That's the reason that doc was so good. It was like, we got these little behind-the-scenes stories that we've never heard before, and like stuff with his teammates. LeBrad, dude, that's the best. I love shit like that.
Yeah, dude, Mike P, the Shrug 23 Jordan collector. When Card Ladder first came out to congratulate the project releasing, he sent me a LeBradford Smith card as the congrats. Or maybe there was a note about him, or it was I don't know, something involving LeBrad. It was thoughtful. I appreciate it.
So LeBradford Smith himself was like, I'm just like a guy. I didn't say anything to this guy, and he's just like coming at me, and what the heck?
Yes, poor guy. Just the punching bag of the night.
I mean, that's how it goes. If you're not a legend, you're just gonna get people got to use you for their fuel. MJ, LeBron, Kobe. I mean, I'm going to start investing in those Topps Lefko cards.
Yo, I'm just glad I got one. Jersey numbered MJ, 23 out of 50.
I had to school tonight, or earlier today. Cole was like, 623? Isn't LeBron numbered to 23? He's not 6. And I was like, God, I got to explain to you, like, that LeBron actually likes 6. It's an Olympic number. He wanted to switch to 6, but he has like a contract with Nike, so he can't. It's like, whatever. I'm not going to explain this to you.
Only the real ones know about that number 6, I guess.
And Penny Hardaway, Olympic number. I'm just, 6.
That's why we chose it, because 6 for you and 23 for us.
2.3.
2.3.
It's coming.
The chat's getting its own revenge here. Lefko's golf video on Top Shot. Yo, can I buy a moment of Lefko teeing off?
I'd buy that. Okay.
Buy that moment right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to buy how did you phrase it? You're like, a block?
A block, a regular season block. That's all it is. It's a block
in
the regular season.
It was into the stands, though, wasn't it? Or no?
Yeah, it was emphatic.
But I mean, I feel like he has one of those like every 3 or 4 games. It's like a regular ass dunk. And I mean, until I see the moment of LeBron's block in the finals or Jordan's shot over Russell, like I'm just like, wake me up when the real moments get here. Like what, dude? If a Zion block goes for 100,000, is the Jordan shot over Russell like $1 billion?
At least.
Like, I'll just.
At least.
Is that the greatest moment in NBA history? The Jordan shot?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know. I've never thought about that question before. I don't think that can be because.
Why?
First of all, it wasn't a buzzer beater. I think.
Come on, man.
Buzzer beater gets an edge.
No. What's the greatest moment in NBA history? Come on, don't.
That's a great question.
No semantics on me about buzzer beaters. Come on. Isn't the NBA? It was a Game 6 of the clinching NBA Finals of his last championship for Michael Jordan. Come on.
Well, the numerology on that shot is great because it was made with 6 seconds left. It was his 45th point of the game. It was during Game 6, and it was the last game he ever played as a Bull.
Dude, those games were like in the 90s, and Jordan was having 40 points. It's just
he
like
scored more than half of his team's points.
It's insane. Like
to win a finals.
I don't need to pump MJ more than he's being pumped in the market, but like that kind of stuff. That's why I still put MJ over LeBron. I know that I'm like a LeBron fanboy because I love what he represents in the current modern game, but like, dude, MJ was the man.
Dude, MJ was awesome.
And he's just like clearly barfing all over the place, still scoring almost half the team's points in a like 80 to 87 or 87 to 85 game, and he's got 40. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was fun to find out more about that backstory. That it wasn't the flu. It was a bad pizza that he insisted on eating in its entirety.
Dude, but all of us can relate to that because, like, in the modern game of, like, everyone's eating healthy salmon, broccoli stuff, like, MJ's like, I want a fucking pizza. Like, I'm just trying to enjoy my life right now. I want a pizza, and then I'll go win the finals game tomorrow. We don't worry about that later.
Yes. There's lots of I wish MJ was still playing. I could watch every game, enjoy LeBron while he's there.
All right, I still ask, what's the greatest? Okay, MJ shot against Georgetown. Kobe's final game, that was one of the best. That's a good one. I'm skipping over the ridiculous ones. LeBron blocks got to be up there.
Yep. Hey, Adam Lefko said he's waiting for people to put this Topps card on eBay. That's why he gave out the jersey number or the serial number, so he'll know. If you try to sell that card, he'll know.
He has them all written down.
Yeah. He knows who got what.
He wants to know the market value. He's not going to be mad at us. He just wants to know what it's worth.
Well, I'm waiting for it to 10x. Waiting for that bubble.
Don't you get a little bit angry though when you sell someone a card and then you see it on eBay? You just get a little bit angry.
Oh, here, you want to know about that? I sold some Lucas last summer through PWCC. Gold Select Rookie BGS 9 courtside went for like 9 or 10 grand. It's on eBay right now for like 100 grand OBO. Yeah, I can't even search eBay without getting triggered by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preach, church.
Maybe we need to add that card to the ladder.
You know what we should start doing? We should only add cards that we own and that we want to pump into the ladder. That would be the ultimate trick on everybody, right?
We should have been doing that from day one.
Wait, we've been accused of that though, right?
Yeah, because we own 7,000. We own 7,356 cards. So
you fudged the numbers, didn't you?
Yes, there's really only 2,306 cards.
Like you've been fudging all the data in Card Ladder to benefit yourself, haven't you?
I mean, why else would we build a tool?
if not to self-serve ourselves, that's what it's all about.
It's not like there's a content and data landscape that if it didn't have Card Ladder would be completely devoid of people who have the ethical integrity of the hobby at the forefront of their business model. It's not like that's the case or anything.
Dude, you and your cliches, man. Integrity, forefront. Look at you and your big lawyer words. Yeah. Is it implicating yourself if you're speaking in sarcastic tones? Is that a thing? Tell me about that, Mr. Lawyer. Is there a legal precedent for speaking in sarcastic tones?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Has that ever come up in a legal setting?
I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has because
he said that, but he was being sarcastic.
A lot of disclosure type of stuff. requires you only have to make disclosures if it's not implied by the context in the setting. So their intent absolutely is, lawyers in the law love to try and figure out intent. That's what all the evidence is. A lot of evidence collecting is oriented around that.
I love how I got you to I don't want to take credit for it, but like I played a small part in getting you to quit your, just like completely abandon your law practices for a silly sports card website.
You get credit. You get a lot of credit for that.
And blame.
You'd be pulling down some serious cash right now if it wasn't for me.
You know what I'd be doing right now? It's what time is it? It's 1 o'clock on a Friday night. I might be home. Or I would be, I don't know, fixing commas on a brief.
Oof. You know what? I saved you, bro.
It is one of my strongest motivators, that I just think about what else might I be doing right now if I wasn't doing this. And that always lights a good fire.
It's kind of funny to me. I think back on this, the night that you messaged me and you're like, hey man, we should build, a tool, was the night that you fucking were sitting there and you're like, God damn it, I'm about to be a lawyer. This is gonna suck. I gotta find something else. Let me hit up my boy to help me build something else. Am I wrong?
I wish it would have been that reactive.
The timing was just too perfect where you were like, oh my God, I'm about to be a lawyer and I'm about to be reading all these legal documents, or I could message him and ask him to help me build this thing.
Yes. Yeah. No, it'd be fun to go read that message sometime.
I would have to scroll for like 7 years to get to that.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. I feel like every time I turn around, you guys are like messaging each other.
She gets jealous.
You talk more than I more than I do.
Like I'm pretty.
He'll be looking at his phone. I'll be talking to him. He'll be looking at his phone, and he'll just smile. And I'll be like, "You're not even listening to me. Tell Josh to wait a minute. I need to tell you something."
This does happen.
I feel like when you wake up in the morning, I know before she does.
That's true.
That is true.
That's definitely true.
Because I'll like.
And by
I'll like
morning, you mean evening.
Yeah.
I send you like a list of things that you need to respond to when you wake up in the morning. Like he'll read this when he wakes up. It's gonna be like a litany of shit. And then you like wake up and like you're like dazed and like responding to me, and then you like get out of bed and you're like, hey Christina, I'm awake. I've already like responded to everybody.
Sometimes Josh will tell me that Chris is awake because I'll be talking to Josh and I'll like answer him on something and he'll be like, oh, Chris just answered that, and I'll be like, well, I'm glad he's awake.
I've told you that like this is like so mean, but I'll be like, Christina wakes up before you, so when I message Christina, it's like a proxy to Chris.
Yeah.
She knows. She likes it.
I do.
She likes it.
I'll be like, hey Chris, and she's like, that's not my name, but okay.
It kind of is her name.
It's like, I'm like, can you look at the sale that Chris isn't sleeping, so I need you to look at this.
Now, Christina she's very good. She can do anything I can do.
She's more similar to me in her OCD, so I can like tap into her OCD-ness on like, oh, I need you to look at these 7 things, whereas you, not so much.
No, things pile up, then they just all get done.
And I'm like, Christina, there's a backlog, and she's like, God damn it.
That's interesting, Carvin. But I think your parents would have to say that you did okay.
Really? My mom thinks I'm crazy. She's like, is that card thing still going on? You're still doing that? I'm like, yeah, it's my career now. She's like, shh.
Hey, that's great. That we want people when cards isn't that anymore, that's when we get worried.
Yeah, My mom's old school. She's like, "Are you a manager yet at your company?" I'm like, "Mom, being in management isn't a thing anymore. That's like the nobody wants to be a manager now. It's all about like being creative and like building things. Nobody wants to be a manager.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
They think you're an idiot, dude. That's crazy. Like you've been incredibly important to the hobby. I think that if I was your parents, I'd be very proud.
Yeah, dude, you are a historic figure. You are on the hobby Mount Rushmore, dude. What are you laughing about?
Deegan's comment.
I'm 34, married with a kid, and I hide my cards from my mom. Yeah, that's literally me, minus the kid.
One of my dreams as a parent is that my kid is into something so random and so weird that it forces me to learn something new that I don't understand, and then I'll be like super proud of them for something that I have no understanding of, I have no idea what they're talking about, but like they're really good at it, so I love that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's admirable. That's not the boomer way.
Like if my son is like into creative dance or something, I'm just like making up something that I know nothing about, and I'm like, dude, you're the best creative dance artist that I know. I don't know shit about that, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So are you guys married, or what's the deal there?
What's the question? Are we married?
Someone earlier was like, "What's your marital status, Chris?"
Our marital status is not official.
One day I will let him marry.
Yeah, one day she will let me marry her. That's the.
I remember one day when you were like, "Oh, we're engaged," and I was like, "Whoa, bro, you didn't even tell me."
Yeah.
We've been engaged for like
a while.
3 years.
Wow.
So
I'm not into paper.
Did one of you ask the other?
Not paper. And
Did one of you ask?
Every time someone's like, "When are you getting the ring?" on Instagram, they message me. I'm like, "I'd rather have the Luca." Like, don't spend money on a ring. I'd rather have a Luca.
Yeah, he's like down on one knee. He's like, "Will you take this gold prism?" Did one of you ask the other?
Yeah, and we've been together for how long now? Long time.
7
No.
7 years.
No. Don't dodge that question. Back
I
up.
said yes.
What was the question?
He said, "How was the engagement consummated?" Was a question asked. And
there was no question asked.
I said yes.
It was a conversation.
You have to understand, Christina is a very rational person.
Yeah, you guys are both way too rational for this to be like a sentimental moment.
It was not. It was literally like a car trip, and it was like, we just came back from family vacation, and I guess like everyone keeps asking, is this something we want to do? What are the pros and cons? Like, should we just say we're engaged? No, that's too much. Like, so we'll just silently be engaged for a year and a half before we tell anyone, and then maybe one day.
That's true.
I was thinking what card porn said, which is like, what's the card prenup?
There is no prenup. That was part of the conversation.
You know what's so funny though? She when we first met, she was all about her prenup because she had her. she was all about it, and then the collection started building, and all of a sudden, yeah. She's
like, hold on, we need a MJ, parallel prenup here. This is ridiculous.
She's going on the chat now.
She's like, yeah, the Luca prenup was tight, but like I saw your red PMG Jordan, and I was like, hold up.
Oh, it's like that. The meme has had some memes about
We had the red long before we started really getting into the Lucas.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite phrase. Put a PMG on it.
When he gives me the green, we can be married.
Wow, look at that. That's
I'm just kidding.
Once you get that green, it'll be love at 10th sight.
Shay says we need a hobby wedding ASAP.
It'll be so tight. You guys should do that.
At National? Like,
yeah.
Right in the middle of National? Like
I don't want to
Vegas.
I don't want to tell you how to have your wedding, but like you guys seem like humble enough people that like a hobby wedding would be sufficient.
Everyone has to bring a card for us though.
Can I be the
card
keep
in a
the
card?
present. Yeah, keep the like. We'll register on eBay
Can
or
I
like
be
on
the
auction house.
what's the guy who officiates it or whatever? Can I be that guy?
Yeah, but you need a license in some states. But you can do it
No.
online.
Can I just? I mean, you've seen my PC, right? Like,
Oh, true. No, you're qualified. You're more than qualified.
Oh yeah, you can if that's what you would like to do, Josh. That's fine.
Ty
Like-
says she can get Upper Deck to sponsor the wedding.
Let's go.
How is this
Oh,
becoming
it's like- by the PC invested in me. By the PC invested by me. Now pronounce you parallel and insert forever.
That's great.
You
That's
may
a whole
now-
meme right there. That's
You
a
may
title.
now redeem your eBay points.
That's
Oh,
good.
this is so bad.
Yeah.
That's end of hour 3 gold right there.
So if Josh and Ty want to plan that for me, so I don't have to, because that's really what's stopping us from going forward.
And COVID. And
Yeah. Y'all can
health
go right ahead.
concerns. I do hope the national, and I hope COVID is subsiding.
Who's your best man?
I was thinking about asking Luca, but
Josh, you can't officiate and be best man.
yeah, I already know. You're already
You
officiating.
gotta pick one or the other.
I definitely don't want to officiate. So wait, is Nick your best man? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that one would have to be for that. Yeah, there's not a choice now.
Okay, I'm accepting of this.
Yeah, it's very understanding of you.
He's gonna produce the wedding.
Yeah, he would prefer that to having to interact with everybody at the wedding. If he could
Yeah, I was
spend
gonna
time.
say. I don't know. The best man speech might be a little tough. I feel like I'm better suited for that.
You could make a great best man speech.
They're like, oh, dude, if my best man speech doesn't end with Chris, you're my one of one, then like it's just a failure.
Wait. The best man speech ends with Josh saying, "Chris, you're my one of one."
Yeah, that's what best man means.
Yeah. Well, first it's like, dude, every best man speech is so easy. You just make fun of them for the first like 90% of it, and the last 10% you get sentimental. You say how much they mean to you, call them your one of one, and you're good. And you get some tears, and you're good. And it's like everyone thinks it's amazing.
And everyone would know what it meant. There would be
Exactly.
no awkwardness. No, everybody would know exactly what it meant.
I feel like we should just do this wedding on one of our crossover shows.
Raise your prisms and toast.
Here's your present.
That's funny.
If I ever to my 50th birthday, I'm giving a tray-based prism. It'll be worth like $10 when that happens.
Yeah. That's not very generous of you.
Right, yeah, that's not that good of a gift. I feel like for my 50th, it should be like $1 million Fleer 86 Jordan.
Yeah, there you go. Buy it now.
Or $2 million.
It's going to $2 million in a year and a half. So
I like how that number just keeps going up no matter what.
yeah, it's just amazing. Just we just wish it and then it happens.
I really want a best man speech, so if you could make that happen somehow. I'm
Yeah,
preparing
I
the
think we could arrange a speech at the hobby wedding, the best man speech.
I've only given one best man speech, and it was pretty good.
Was it good? Okay.
My brother is not getting married because he's my brother. But my best friend growing up, I was his best man. It was pretty good.
Nice. Okay.
But I would just have so many awesome card cliches ready to go that, like, oh, man.
He says, instead of rice, we throw base at them while they ride off.
Just like, I mean, I would say, like, base Lucas, but those are pretty expensive. I'm picking that shit up.
Nope, can't throw those.
Maybe like Diallo.
Dude, somebody said Diallo's PER is like 21 this year.
I mean, he plays like 6 minutes a game, so I bet.
Yeah, I actually wanted to look into that briefly here.
Oh, the crying Jordan speech. There we go. I'll start crying randomly. I can't cry on demand though.
Okay.
I wish I could.
PR is 18. I don't know where I got 21 from. Maybe he just had a really bad game against the Nets.
Pretty good. They can ride on 2 bicycles with cards in the spokes. Jeez.
No cards.
It'd be hard to find. I bet it's really hard to find cards that are worthy of going into spokes these days.
Yeah. Maybe not that hard. I could find
Yeah.
some.
I feel like we just like assume every card's expensive, but there's probably a lot that are just total junk.
Yeah. Although you do feel like if you buy a basketball product for the last 3 or 4 years, even the base cards, you just feel like, I better save these.
But if you get like a base Prism 2019, like, I don't know, Victor Oladipo, you're like, whatever.
I started
Daniel
saving.
House base cards, it's probably not worth much.
Yeah. That we can draw the line there. Definitely agree with that. Yeah. There's plenty of spoke-worthy cards. I agree.
Because you said that like you've been building up this 1,700 card order. How many cards?
1,175 cards.
How many cards are just like like firewood worthy?
A lot of them were a year or two ago. So I bought. So first of all, we opened a bunch of Walmart Megas of 2018 Prism. Pink Ice is the parallel, and then I bought a complete set of Pink Ice 2018 Prism on eBay for like $150 to $200 years ago. Now half the cards in the Pink Ice set are $50 plus as PSA 10s, and some of them are we had like 3 Trae Youngs just sitting around, didn't even realize I had them. So like those are very expensive as PSA 10, talking 1,000 I think or more. So like there's like 200 Pink Ice cards, like Allen Iverson. That card's like $70 as a 10. So like
What?
Yeah.
But how many? For real, like you sent in 1,100 cards. How many did you not send in? They're just sitting there in piles of garbage.
No, I milked that cow. I went through and got everything that could be, 50 to 60 dollars in PSA 10.
What's left?
Oh, just true common crap.
What do you do with that? What do you do with those cards?
Just sits in a box.
What? Burn them. I feel like how like some stuff you're not supposed to burn because it'll like put carbon into the air. I feel like is Prism gonna like destroy our planet if you burn that?
Prism could have health consequences and environmental consequences. That's
And like put a bunch of carbon into the atmosphere. That's like, oh man, did you burn Prism? Are you crazy? Do you know what's in that stuff? The chromium film on those is just really bad for the environment.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Telling you, man, you can't just burn that stuff. It's bad for the environment.
Well, I'm not burning them.
You know how like you can't just like throw away batteries into your trash? You have to like take your batteries to Office Max. I feel like Prism is the same way. Your common Prism, you take it to like environmentally safe environment that they can.
I can see some enterprising hobbyist creating that narrative and then positioning themselves as the person who collects them all, and then just getting all the Prism base.
Yeah, someone's gonna try to profit off this idea I just came up with.
Yes, they are.
And we're like, oh, I'm the place where you can just dump all your Prism base, and just kidding, I'm gonna sell it all to some poor kid.
Yeah, seriously though.
Darstock.
I don't know what that means. Have they been losing cards?
Oh,
I hope not.
I hope not as well. I haven't been on that website yet. All right, this is really bad. We have to end the show.
Yeah. May have set a new record tonight.
I feel like we need to up our Buzzsprout account after this.
Dude, we already needed to. We've already exceeded the monthly limit, so now we're paying like each extra hour incurs a new.
I literally was like,
I was gonna be like, dude, we should probably keep it at 2 hours so that we can stay under our Buzzsprout limits.
That wasn't gonna happen. There was no chance.
Prism-based recycling center.
Look at that. Got entrepreneurs out there. Yeah,
The
all
people
right.
who are still hanging around right now are just ghosts.
You guys are just legends. You're crazy as well. Thank you for 3 solid hours. I feel so much better after doing this show. We covered a lot of ground this week too, I might add. So
I'm only here still because I'm just completely lit.
so is this guy.
I'm
True.
completely drunk at this point.
All right, man. Oh shit.
Peace out, brother.
All right, peace out, dude.
The future is here. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.